Chapter 4059. If you can help me to get out of this place, even if I can be your guard all my life. The old people of the immortal Longhui clan are excited. Here, he is just a tool of the Hades without any freedom. Over the years, he has been guarding this ghost place, and people are going crazy. Now the condition proposed by Longchen is not a condition at all. Longchen is now in the fairyland. According to the cultivation speed of the human race, the time to be promoted to the king of the world is no different from the time to blink an eye. As long as you can leave this place and let him do anything, because his essence is immortal dragon locust, trapped in Tianhe, the laws of Tianhe constantly erode his body, making him miserable. For countless years, he has been fighting for his life, and can only barely maintain his realm without falling down, without any growth in cultivation. If he leaves here, he can continue to practice, which is a great thing for him. No, after I have the ability to protect myself, you can go back to the undead world, and help me take a message to the undead Willow clan, and help me inquire about the whereabouts of a friend. No, it should be 2 friends. Long Chen has a premonition that Lu Rian must be with Chu Yao. The 2 people are weighing and weighing. When Lu Rian returns to the corpse demon forest, he will take Chu Yao with him. Be ready. It may hurt a little. Please bear it. Long Chen took a deep breath and lifted the left eye mask. The left eye of Long Chen opens, and the purgatory flower in the pupil appears again. This time, Long Chen uses the pupil technique, and the flower of hell rotates in Long Chen's eyes, and a terrible force of death erupts. The flower mark of hell on the altar lights up rapidly. At the same time, there are strange lines on the old people of the immortal Longhui clan. The old man of the immortal Longhui clan couldn't help humming. His whole body trembled, but he endured it. Compared with freedom, this pain is nothing. Boom! The whole purgatory eye has been absorbed by the endless energy of the dragon's way of death. Long Chen's eyes began to bleed again, this time more painful than the last time, but Long Chen was not afraid. He knew that such absorption would increase the upper limit of purgatory eye, and would not bring him much damage. As long as he can hold on, the eyes of purgatory will become stronger and stronger, and the old people of the immortal Longhui clan will feel bad, as if the whole soul will be stripped off. But he will not let himself make a sound, because he knew that Longchen would not suffer less than him. As a strong man of the immortal Longhui clan, he also had his own pride. He could not be looked down upon in front of a younger generation. Boom! Suddenly there was a loud noise, and the whole demon's eyes suddenly trembled, and endless black energy suddenly poured into the eyes of Longchen. Longchen quickly closed his eyes. At this time, half of his face was covered with black blood, just like a black cobweb. It looked very frightening. Longchen's left eye is burning with pain. It seems that his eyes are going to split, and half of his head is going to explode with pain. Master, are you all right? The elders of the immortal Longhui clan are concerned about the tunnel. At this time, the old man of the immortal Longhui clan was full of gratitude in his eyes. Longchen actually pulled out the emperor's mark on him. He finally got rid of the shackles and regained his freedom. There's no need to call master. We don't have to be so polite. Just call me Longchen. After a long time, the dragon dust felt better, and the dragon dust signaled that he was okay. That's no good. I can't repay you for your kindness all my life. You asked me to be your guard. During this period you are my master. I'm not an ungrateful person of the immortal Longhui clan. The old man of the immortal Longhui clan solemnly said, the undead Longhui people are also famous in the undead world. They also attach great importance to their reputation. Thanks to Longchen's great kindness, the elders of the immortal Longhui clan are very grateful to Longchen and have made up their mind to protect Longchen to the death. At this time, Xiachen, Guoran and others are also coming. Yu Qingxian looks at Longchen's pain. Her face is full of heartache, but she can't say anything. She feeds Longchen a healing pill to relieve his pain. After taking a pill, Longchen's pain relieved a lot. The immortal Longhui family old man said, Master, do you really want to take this life crystal? Once you collect the crystal of life, the devil's eye will collapse, and am afraid it will lead to the pursuit and killing of the hell. Master, for the convenience of later address, He'll call you Uncle Huai. Uncle Huai, this crystal of life is of great use to me. I have to take it away. As for the others, I can't care so much. You help me to protect the Dharma, and I'll take it with my things. As Long Chen spoke, he came to the bottom of the crystal of life. He made a seal with his hands. When the void trembled, a bronze tripod appeared. It was the heaven and earth tripod. Originally, the heaven and earth tripod was always like a dead thing, and Long Chen could only use it to smash people and defend them. But today, as soon as it appeared, countless runes around it trembled, as if it had come to life. It even took the initiative to lean towards the huge crystal of life, in which the endless power of life disappeared in an instant. You know, that is the old man of the undead dragon Huai family. The power of life gathered here for countless years has gathered the essence of the life of billions of millions of strong people. After absorbing the crystal of life, a lot of copper rust fell off on the Chengkuan Ding. The part of copper rust fell off bloomed a strange luster, through which we can see its mysterious texture. Good guy, it takes so much power of life to make 1/3 of its parts rust off. If you want it to really show itself, you need at least 2 such life crystals. The dragon dust can't help but be shocked. The heaven and earth tripod is really a chaotic artifact. It seems that it's not easy to recover it. When part of the rust on the heaven and earth tripod fell off, Long Chen obviously felt that he had a sense of soul connection with it. Long Chen's heart is beating wildly. Yes, now you have the ability to use it. The dragon people are strong. Really? Isn't it that I can use it to suppress heaven dragon dust excited tunnel? Well, it's theoretically possible. The dragon people are strong. What do you mean? You mean actually? Long Chen asked. I said that you have the ability to use it, but I didn't say that you have the ability to use it, because you didn't hear it clearly. It's the Kuan Ding in the heaven and earth cauldron. It's not a combat weapon. It's mainly used for defense. But you don't have enough power now. You can't even activate a rune, let alone activate its defense power. The dragon people are strong. Isn't that the same as not saying it? The dragon dust doesn't have good spirit tunnel, white happy one. It can't be used to fight, but it has other uses. What's the use? Alchemy, for example. What? Long Chen jumped up. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4060, Is Qian Kuan Ding a Dan Ding? Long Chen is surprised and happy. It can't be said that the heaven and earth tripod is the Dan tripod, but the heaven and earth tripod is the Dan tripod, which controls life and defense. The cauldron is a weapon. It's mainly used to attack and kill. It has different attributes. Therefore, you can't expect it to be a sharp weapon to kill the enemy, but it can bring you other benefits. And if you use it to make pills, the pills are also spiritual things. Nurturing spiritual things can speed up the recovery of heaven and earth tripod. In addition, powerful elixir will lead to natural calamity. Heaven and earth tripod can absorb the power of natural calamity and accelerate recovery. This crystal of life can be regarded as activating the heaven and earth cauldron. It can be said that you have made a lot of money this time. The dragon people are strong. I see. Long Chen couldn't help but be overjoyed. He really made a lot of money this time. By the way, Master, can I improve my accomplishments? Long Chen asked. During this period of time, the dragon strongman has been asking him to study the dragon god's body refining technique. Now the dragon dust's body refining technique has achieved a little success, so it's time to improve his cultivation. Before that time, the rank suppression of the fairyland of the Terran is not strong, but it's just a buffer step for the impact of heaven. In front of the god, no matter you are the king of immortals, the king of the world, the god of man and the god of earth, there is no difference. You are only crushed. You are now in the golden welfare period of practicing dragon god's body refining. Calculate the time. There is at most 1 month left. The golden welfare period will be over. You'd better concentrate on practicing the dragon god's body refining skill, lay a good foundation for the body, and improve the realm. It's just a matter of lifting a hand. Even if you are promoted one day, It's not difficult. The dragon god's body refining technique can be practiced until it is completed. The qi and blood can run freely, and the power can be sent and received from the heart. The use of the 7 kinds of power, namely blood, qi, bone, spirit, soul, mind and will, can be engraved into the depth of the soul and integrated into the fighting instinct, and then the realm can be improved. When you arrive at the full circle of the immortal king, Wang Qi will add to your body, and your mind will cover the way of heaven. Then try to deduce your 7-star battle body. If you believe me, follow my advice. The strong one of the dragon nationality said in a deep voice, "You are the one who saved my life. Of course I can trust you." Long Chen said with a smile, I'm afraid that it's not the first time that you'll be stubborn and disown your family." The dragon strongman hummed coldly. Obviously, Long Chen didn't listen to him several times, which made him a little angry. So, he beat Long Chen first, so that he wouldn't be fooled in the future. You know, some things must be done step by step, otherwise it's really easy to make a big deal. If one can't be done well, Long Chen's life will be gone. He has to emphasize his tone, otherwise Long Chen won't take it seriously at all. Long Chen naturally looks obedient. He knows that the strong of the dragon clan will not harm him, but sometimes when the ideas are different, he still has to listen to himself. However, Long Chen thinks so in his heart. He can't say so in his mouth, so as not to irritate the dragon strongman. If he doesn't pay any attention to him in the future, it's over. He has a lot of things to ask others for advice. The heaven and earth cauldron absorbed the crystal of life, and the whole devil's eye didn't appear any different situation, which made Uncle Huai feel relieved. Longshan asked Guoran to collect the copper rust on the ground, which came from the heaven and earth tripod. Longshan wanted it to be useful. "Boss, this copper rust seems to have no power?" Guoran studied the copper rust, and found that the copper rust, in addition to the endless power of years, seems to bring no harm to people, far less than the rust scraped by dragon dust on the ghost ship. "I know. I'll keep the rust. When I have time, it'll help me make some fakes according to the appearance of the heaven and earth cauldron. Glue up the rust and see if you can find some wrongdoers and exchange some good things." Longshan rode. "I'll go." Guoran's face is full of admiration. The boss is the boss, and there are endless bad moves. Such ideas can also be thought of. Although these copper rusts are not powerful, they have the power of years, and there should be many other ingredients in them. If you use them to camouflage, maybe you can really confuse the fake with the real. After all, the heaven and earth cauldron is a legendary thing. No one has seen it with his own eyes. With these copper rust, it is the best evidence. Suddenly, as soon as the dragon dust points out, a black flame flies out and falls into the endless sea of corpses, which is the flame of flaming emptiness and can burn all things. Those corpses were soon ignited. Originally, the corpses had been weathered and turned into ashes by the fire. Dust to dust, earth to earth, people are dead, so don't leave your skin. I just don't know if you can enter reincarnation. Long Chen looked at the corpses and sighed. The boudoir is like a nameless man in a dream. I don't know if their lovers are still looking forward to their return day and night. Yu Qingxian watched the bones turn to ashes, holding Long Chen's hand. In her beautiful eyes, there was a touch of sadness. Everyone is a living life, with parents, wives and children. I don't know if their missing feelings can call back their souls. Long Chen holds Yu Qingxian's jade hand, and his heart is also full of sadness. Looking back, fate is like a merciless whip, driving away all the creatures in the world. Everyone is running forward desperately. Once they run slowly, they will be crushed by the whip behind them and become the dust of the world. When Longshan was bullied by others, how Longshan longed for power, how he envied those practitioners, how he envied that they could control their own destiny and live the life they wanted. But on the road of practice, he found that he jumped into the rolling Yangtze River from a pond, and the road of practice was a road of no return. With the improvement of cultivation, there is a feeling that fate is out of control. Looking at those corpses, Long Chen feels that if he doesn't work hard enough, he will become one of them. Even if you work hard, who can guarantee that the person lying in the pit is not yourself? Heaven and earth are like chess. Everyone is a chess piece. If you want to get out of the board, you need to practice constantly to make yourself stronger and become a chess player. There are special rules of space here, but it's not a problem with Uncle Huai. Standing behind Long Chen, the flying boat in the morning of summer can be controlled, and finally it floats up slowly. The altar below became smaller and smaller, and eventually disappeared, but the warship continued to float for a long time, and finally saw the sky vortex. Huai Shu can control the law of this area, and finally the warship slowly floated out of the vortex. When Huai Shu looked at the vortex gradually away, his face was full of excitement. Uncle Huai, you can go home soon. Long Chen looks at the excited Uncle Huai. He knows what kind of mood it is to be freed after being enslaved for so many years. It's all up to the master. Huai Uncle excited tunnel. Boom. At this time, the whole sea roared, the sound of breaking the air came, and then we saw a huge object appeared. As soon as the monster appeared, Xia Chen and others were startled. Ghost ship, P.S. Thank you for your support. Old Devil continues to work hard. The next chapter will be delivered about 10 o'clock ago. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4061. With the roar of the void and the gust of the overcast wind, the sky and the earth suddenly became dark, and the endless dark clouds covered the clear sky. The whole world became full of ghosts. As if the cold hand fell into the cellar, cold hair fell down at that moment. They saw a huge wooden boat coming through the waves. It was so big that it was like a floating island. Compared with it, Guoran's warship was like an ant facing a dragon. On the dark wooden boat, with mottled rust, the mast and canvas are full of holes, and it seems that they will be scattered at any time. Good guy, such a big boat is still a canoe. Guoran saw at a glance that the huge wooden boat was an integral whole, and it was carved out of single wood. Well, there's a downwind ship. Xia Chen will drive the warship up. Be careful, don't touch those chains and wood pulp, otherwise our warship will break in an instant. Long Chen excited tunnel. Boss, are you serious? Xia Chen's face turned green with fright. Come on, it's not the first time. Long Chen said with a smile. Last time, after he was dug by Longton Company, he found a ghost ship and killed it directly to the wharf of Longton Company. Hearing what Long Chen said, Xia Chen can only harden his head, turn the direction of the warship, follow the direction of the ghost ship, and improve the speed to the extreme. Even so, the speed of the ghost ship was much faster than that of the warship. It was just one breath before the ghost ship caught up with it. Fortunately, the ghost ship sailed rapidly on the water, just like galloping on the ice. It didn't stir up any waves and didn't have to worry about being knocked over by its waves. Standing in the bow of the ship, Long Chen saw the right time, and a chain shot out, accurately hanging on the side of the ghost ship. Long Chen was lucky. Last time he was on the ghost ship, he got a lot of chains. He also used some of them. However, he still kept a lot of chains in his hand. Only this kind of chains can he be afraid of the erosion of time. If other chains are not close to the ghost ship, they will rot and deform, and they can't catch it at all. When the chain catches up with the ghost ship, with the power of the ghost ship's rapid rush and the strength of Long Chen's arms, people have already flown to the side of the ship. When the dragon dust flies to the side of the ship, he throws the chain in his hand at Uncle Huai. Uncle Huai grabs the chain with his left hand and opens his right hand. Endless branches fly out and cover everyone. Dragon dust a break drink, arm force, all people fly, in the air across an arc, people accurately fall on the splint of the ghost ship. Never touch the mast or canvas, let alone any iron on board. When people fly on the ghost ship, Long Chen hastens to show humanity to all. Because he got on the ghost ship, Long Chen found that the ghost ship was different from any ghost ship he met. The rust on the ironware gives people a terrible feeling. This is a very special ghost ship. When they got on the ghost ship, they all felt numb. Even if Long Chen didn't say anything, they didn't dare to move. The smell here was so strange and frightening. Master, it's not good here. There are strange fluctuations. There are unclean things below. Wei Shu's eyes carefully scanned the whole deck, and his face was solemn. Unlike the ghost ship on the dragon dust before, there were no dense corpse soldiers on the deck. The deck of the ship was clean and had nothing. Dragon dust also found not good, and at this time, at the foot of the people, came a strange voice. Dada. The sound is very strange. It seems to be the sound of footsteps, and it seems to be the sound of sweeping the floor. When the sound enters people's ears, it is like hundreds of millions of steel needles piercing into people's soul, which makes people's soul tremble and get goosebumps all over. All the people felt numb, and the voice went straight to the soul, saying that they were not afraid that it was false. The most terrible thing was that they didn't know what it was. You don't have to worry. I have the mark of the ghost emperor. The spirit of the ghost ship won't attack me. Let's go and have a look. Longchen rode. Then he went to the middle of the deck, where Longchen saw an entrance. They followed the dragon dust, but the ghost ship was too big. They walked for an hour before they came to the entrance. Along the way, they heard all kinds of strange voices. Fortunately, all of them were really strong. Otherwise, the unknown voice would make the soul collapse. Fortunately, there is dragon dust, otherwise they really can't hold on. When people come to the entrance, they find that there is a passage to the lower floor. When entering the passage, the whole world suddenly became more dim, and the strange sound became clearer. Walking down the passage, I don't know how long I came to the lower deck. The light here is dim, but there is light coming out from the crevice of the top deck. It's not particularly difficult to see the surrounding situation. Creak, creak. As soon as the crowd came down, a strange voice suddenly sounded behind him. Guaran screamed with fright, because not far behind him, there was a living creature standing. Guaran, out of instinct, wore armor body, a knife to the creature cut in the past. When there was a loud explosion, sparks were flying, and the creature was slightly shaken. However, Guaran was shocked and rolled out. Uncle Huai stretched out his hand to hold Guaran and remove his strength. Originally, Guaran was so shocked that his blood surged, his eyes were full of stars, and he almost burst out of blood. But after Uncle Huai helped him to take off his strength, he felt much better. At the moment of Guaran's hand, with the flying sparks, people saw that it was a creature wearing simple armor. His body was shriveled, his eyes were closed, and there was no breath of life. It looks like the same as the Terran, with hands and feet, and the proportion is almost the same, but above the head, there is a single horn, which proves that it is not a Terran. Guaran cut it a knife, its body slightly shook, but did not pay attention to Guaran, its feet dragging the ground, continued to move forward. What kind of creature is this? So strong? Guaran exclaimed. He didn't keep his hand with the knife just now, but he didn't hurt the creature at all. Even the armor of the creature was only scratched like a hair. If you don't look carefully, you can't see it at all. Before his life, he was a strong man of heaven, and in heaven he should be a very strong one. Huai Shu looks at the Shengling Dao. Tianzuan mummies, people exclaim that they have just seen Tianzan's terror, and their strength is hopeless. Here they see Tianzan's mummies. What's the situation? Is the heaven strong everywhere? Creak, creak. The sound is the sound of its feet dragging the floor. Its walking posture is very strange, and its movement is very slow. Every step is very laborious. Creak, creak. At this time, it's very strange to walk in the distance, just like the creatures on the ground. What's more, Longchen found that their pace was in accordance with this constant scale. Between the pace and the pace, there was no more, not less. All of a sudden, Longchen found that these creatures seemed to be holding things in their hands, and they all walked in the same direction without expression. Longchen waved to the crowd and ran straight to the direction of the living beings. Soon, Longchen saw a border in front of him. In the border, there stood a tall figure. At the moment of seeing that figure, Longchen felt his soul tremble, and even Uncle Huai's face changed. The strong man in the chaos era. www. Novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4062. It was a huge man with long hair. He was a head higher than Longchen. His body was extremely strong. His upper body was red and bare. His bronze skin was covered with strange lines. He stood in a border, bound by chains that connected the upper and lower decks. The chain, there is black gas flow, seems to be what energy slowly injected into the body. Huaishu and others can't guess that the breath of chaos comes from the H. It's just that there is no breath of life, it seems to be a corpse, but why should a corpse be bound with a chain? Just then, a living creature came to the border and slowly stretched out his hand. At this time, Long Chen saw that the living creature was holding a crystal the size of a nail in his hand. The crystal into the border, immediately into a cobweb of silk thread, to the long-hair man shrouded in the past. When the black silk thread integrated into the man's body, the chain behind the man vibrated slightly, and then Long Chen saw that there were strange waves on the chain. It's drawing the power of that man's life. He's not dead. Long Chen was shocked, not only Long Chen, but also Huaishu. This is a creature from the Chaos era. It's not dead yet, and it still has the power of life. It's terrible. Can a creature from the Chaos era live to the present? Isn't that a real living fossil? It seems that these creatures in chains extract his vitality and don't want him to wake up. Master, you see, every step of these creatures is accurate, just like a timer. They are constantly using the black crystal to extract his vitality. The strong man in this chaotic era has amazing vitality. They can only use this way to prevent him from waking up. This ghost ship seems to be a prison for escorting prisoners, and he is the only one in the whole prison. Huaishu looked serious. Long Chen nodded and said, "It should be like this. I don't know what the origin of this archaic creature is. Should we save him or not? If he wakes up but it's not good for us, I'm afraid we'll all die in his hands." Long Chen looks at the burly man with long hair. Although he stands there quietly, it seems to be a corpse. Long Chen can sense the energy of destroying the sky and the earth in his body. Once he wakes up, let alone him, even if he is a strong one in heaven, he is just like a mole ant in front of him. From Uncle Huai's shocked expression, we can see that the strength of this man from the Chaos era is too much higher than that of him, and he is not at the same level at all. Master, wake up, what's the situation? What should I do? Long Chen is shouting to the strong of the dragon clan with his soul. But the dragon strong man didn't respond. After several more shouts, Long Chen still didn't hear a word. Just when Long Chen thought he couldn't get in touch with the dragon strong man, the voice of the dragon strong man suddenly came. "Star Warrior, you met him?" The voice of the dragon strong man was a little surprised. Obviously, he didn't expect that Long Chen would encounter such an existence. Star Warrior? Why is the name so familiar? I think I heard about it somewhere. Long Chen alung, this name he absolutely where heard, but a time can't remember. Of course, I'm familiar with you. At the beginning, there was a little girl named Wanqing in Dangu. She asked you about the origin of the meteor. You lied to her that you would become an invincible star warrior in the future, and then you would pick a star and give it to her. Do you have no impression of your brag? The strong of the dragon race have no good manners. Long Chen suddenly felt embarrassed. No wonder he felt so familiar. It turned out that it was Lao Tzu's boast. He didn't expect that the name he made up casually actually existed like this. In order to ease the embarrassment, Long Chen said in a hurry, "Master, can he save it? I don't want to save him." "Of course, it can be saved. He won't do anything to you. The Ghost Emperor wants to transport him to his hometown and cultivate him into his own Ghost Emperor puppet. That's why he keeps a trace of his life. However, the Star Warrior's life force is extremely tenacious. If this life force is not contained, it will soon wake up. Therefore, those living beings constantly use the crystallization of ghost to limit his life power, neither let the fire of life go out, nor let him wake up. The dragon people are strong." Hearing what the dragon strongman said, Long Chen immediately felt relieved. The enemy of the enemy is his friend. Whatever the Ghost Emperor wants to do, he can destroy it, even if he can't get the benefit, it doesn't matter. Long Chen asked everyone to stay here and not move. He ran away alone. Long Chen searched the ghost ship back and forth. The ghost ship was too big, and its structure was different from that of the ghost ship he had been on before. It took long time for Long Chen to find the core of the ghost ship. Normally, the core is in the middle or bow, while the core of this ghost ship is in the stern. Here, there is a huge rudder which has a seal on it. It can't be started. Fortunately, Long Chen has experience and injects the power of soul into the rudder. Soon the rudder will react. Once it can be used, it can control its direction. But this time it's different. Long Chen not only needs to control its direction, but also needs to control the whole ghost ship. He reluctantly opened his eye mask, and when his left eye opened, Rao almost screamed out with the endurance of Long Chen. At the moment when his left eye opened, the flower of hell appeared, the rudder of the ship trembled, and then a flower of hell appeared. At that moment, everything on the ghost ship appeared in the mind of Long Chen. Long Chen covers his eyes painfully. Now his left eye can't see anything. He has to use it before he can recover, which makes his left eye injury extremely serious. It took Long Chen a long time to wipe the blood off his face. He was afraid that Yu Qingxian would feel sorry when he saw the blood. When he was okay, he returned to his original place. It turns out that the ghost ship is divided into 3 layers, the middle and lower. The Star Warrior is trapped in the middle layer, and the Ghost King crystal is in a box on the lower layer. The puppets kept going back and forth between the lower level and the middle level, and their time was fixed. Originally, there was a boundary between the middle level and the lower level, but after Long Chen took control of the ghost ship, the boundary had no meaning to Long Chen. Long Chen finds the box of the crystal of the Ghost Emperor and finds that there are countless nail-sized crystals in it, with endless death in it. Long Chen didn't know what the use of this thing was, so he simply threw it into the chaotic space. At this time, the puppets came to the place where the box was, and because they couldn't get the crystal of the Ghost Emperor, they began to turn around. The puppets lost their direction and stood there like puppets, not knowing what to do. After finishing these, Long Chen let Xia Chen take the helm and sail the huge ghost ship. Long Chen and others guard the Star Warrior. 7 days later, the Star Warrior's big hand suddenly vibrated, and Long Chen and others' hearts suddenly became excited. P.S. There's another chapter. I'll send it later. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4063, Kaka Kaka. The man's fingers moved a few times and made a toothache sound, as if his knuckles had rusted and rubbed against each other. The sound was extremely unpleasant. It's only 7 days, and a little bit of vitality has been restored. Is the vitality of the Star Warrior so amazing? Long Chen can't help but be shocked. I'm afraid this man has a long history, because I can't assess his true strength because I see him through your eyes. But in 7 days, you can get out of the Ghost Emperor's Dharma array and wake up from it. I'm afraid that this man has a different status among the Star Fighters. It's obvious that he is also paying attention to the Star Warrior. Why are they called Star Fighters? It's a strange name. Long Chen asked. Because they are a group of stars in the Age of Chaos. They have a congenital star map and practice by the power of the stars. It is known as the strongest fighter under the starry sky. The fighters in the starry sky are extremely brave and fearless of death, but they mysteriously disappeared in the Taigu era. Because the time is too long, so few people know the legend of the Star Warrior. The dragon people are strong. Under the stars? Long Chen's heart jumps wildly. Doesn't that mean that there is no enemy in the world? Who else lives above the stars? Boss, there's land ahead. Just when Long Chen and others were guarding the star soldiers, suddenly the excited voice of Xia Chen came. Long Chen and others were both surprised and happy. Are they going to cross the Tianhe River so soon? Long Chen and others abandoned the star fighters and stepped on the head of the ghost ship. Sure enough, land appeared in front of them, endless land. No, master, it's not land, it's the flesh of the living. Huaishu looked at the land, and there was a look of uncertainty in his eyes. The flesh of the living? How is that possible? Guoran and others could hardly believe their eyes. You know, at this time, they are very far away from the land, and their sight is boundless. What kind of human body can be so huge? Is it? Long Chen was surprised. I'm afraid so, otherwise other creatures can't be that big. Huaishu nods and says that he and Longchen want to go together. The ghost ship sailed forward, getting closer and closer to the land. A strong smell of blood came from it. At the same time, countless birds, strange fish and sea monsters could be seen. There are even some sea monsters. They are already heaven class. When the ghost ship gets closer, you can see that they are as tall as mountains, and their blood is terrible. Countless sea monsters can be seen on the endless land, and they are devouring the earth crazily. When the ghost ship approaches, these terrible monsters begin to retreat one after another, and even some monsters are scared away directly. Is this the sea whale? But Guo-ran couldn't believe it. The one we saw should be a young sea whale, and this one is an adult sea whale. It died here at the end of its life. Longchen rode. Old age? No, at this level shouldn't it last forever? Even if they die, their bodies should be immortal. They can't be eaten like this? Guo-ran couldn't help saying. Every soul and Tao has its destiny, and the sea whale family is different from the Kunping family. They always follow the way of nature, do not fight with heaven and earth, let the way of heaven bound. They were born in the sea, grew up in the sea, and eventually buried in the sea. Before they die, they will transform all their accomplishments. In order to make it convenient for other creatures to eat it, they will destroy all their defenses, and then quietly wait for death. They will give back to the sea what the sea has given them, which is a kind of feedback to the place where they were born and bred, and also the last tenderness left to the sea in their lives. When its flesh and blood are eaten up, its bones will sink into the sea floor, and many sea floor monsters will continue to eat until it falls to the bottom of the sea for those weak creatures to devour, and it will form a huge breeding place, which will last for thousands of years. From death to falling to the bottom of the sea, this process usually lasts tens of thousands of years. It has a desolate and beautiful term, which is called whale falling. The so-called whale swallows everything, and the whale swallows everything. Previously, we saw that the sea whales devoured endless sea monsters. Now we see that the endless sea monsters devour the sea whales, drinking and pecking. Is it a foregone conclusion? Looking at the picture in front of him, Longchen couldn't help sighing. The sea whale can't be said to be great, but it knows how to be grateful and abides by the way of nature. It doesn't blindly ask for it. In the end, it will give everything back to the place where it was born and raised. But what about people? It seems that not many people will think that people are the most greedy. No matter how much they get, they will never be able to satisfy the ravine of desire. The devil is ferocious. What about people? Sometimes more ferocious than the devil. In the end, what makes people so ferocious? Is it just desire? I'm afraid it's not that simple. Or is there an evil hand between heaven and earth, constantly excavating people's inner evil thoughts, and finally pushing people into the abyss of evil? Roar. When the ghost ship approaches the carcass of the sea whale, some even issue a roar warning. They look at the ghost ship, and fear emerges in their eyes, but they are reluctant to give up their territory and keep roaring to test. It's too big to fit. Guo-ran said. Why? You want a bite too? People give back their flesh and blood to the sea. You didn't grow up in the sea. It's not appropriate. Summer morning road. You're at the... Guo-ran didn't retort. He felt that Xia Chen's words really made some sense. Come on, go around. Dragon dust looking at this endless flesh and blood. To tell the truth, dragon dust some heart. If you throw these flesh and blood into the chaotic space and let the black earth devour them, I don't know how much vitality it can release. Will the ancient Fusang wood and the Taiyin would grow crazy? But Longchen has his own bottom line. As Xia Chen said, the sea whale returns himself to the sea. If he takes it, it's like stealing. Longchen can't do that, so he can only leave with a sigh. But the whale was too big to imagine. It took them 3 days to walk from the middle of the whale to the head. In the past 3 days, everyone was shocked. How many sea monsters does such a big sea whale need to eat when it grows up? Fortunately, it gives itself back to the sea, otherwise the sea monsters in the sea will be eaten up by them. When it comes to the head of the sea whale, to the surprise of Longchen and others, there is no sea demon in this area. What's the situation? Can't they bite Heqiong's head? Guo-ran couldn't help looking at Longchen. Longchen also looked confused. Don't look at me, I see it from the book, I don't know. Whoa, whoa, whoa. At this time, unexpectedly, the sound of the soldiers on the deck came from the sky. The Star Warrior slowly raised his head, long hair scattered, showing a bronze face, its eyes to the sea whale, suddenly big hands open. Boom! With a bang, the head of the sea whale suddenly burst open, and a huge object flew out of the head of the sea whale and flew straight to the ghost ship. It's the nucleus of the sea whale. Long Chen was surprised. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4064. When the huge sea whale crystal nucleus flew in and fell into the man's hands, there was a flow of stars in his hands. The huge crystal nucleus shrank in an instant and was caught by him. The whale opened its mouth and bit it. Long Chen and others were stunned. The man seemed to be very hungry. After 3 or 2 people ate the crystal nucleus, the lines on his body glowed slowly, and the whole person became more energetic. Suddenly, the ghost ship shakes. He jumps out and flies to the head of the sea whale, where the crystal nucleus is removed. He grabs down with his big hand and sees the sky shaking and endless starlight swaying, forming a star giant behind the man. The giant's body is all over the sky, composed of hundreds of millions of stars. With the man's action, the giant grabs the head of the sea whale with one claw. Boom! There was a big bang, and the body of the sea whale trembled. Then in the stormy waves, Long Chen saw a scene that he could not imagine in his life. Kaka kaka. The big star hand pulled out from the head of the sea whale and pulled out its huge spine. Huge power, let the sea whale body deformation, whale corpse countless monsters, have fled in panic. Boom, a whale bone across the sky, which is the backbone of the sea whale, lies across the sky and covers the sky. It is too big, like the whip of the god of heaven, flashing the power of terror. The man pulled out the backbone of the sea whale. You know, when the sea whale died, it would transform itself into Tao, disperse all defenses, and let all living beings devour it. But there are 2 areas of power that cannot be directly transformed. One is its nucleus, the other is its skeleton. The nucleus is the place where all its forces converge, and the skeleton is the cornerstone of its huge body. Even it can't transform its energy. Only when his flesh and blood are gnawed away, the power of crystal nucleus and bone will slowly emerge. That's why his bones sink into the bottom of the sea and continue to support the creatures in the sea. When the spine is pulled out, the spine is like a whip, and the terror attached to it makes the soul tremble. The stars disappeared in the sky, and so did the star giant. The whale bone in the man's hand shrank rapidly, and finally formed a long whip, which was more than 10 feet long, and was tied around his waist. The man looked around as if to identify the direction, and then foot void. A few steps later, it disappeared, leaving only a face of Long Chen and others. It's terrible. What level of strength does this belong to? Guoran and others, you look at me, I look at you, are scared silly. Before they met Tianzuan's strong people, they could not help each other. They thought Tianzuan was invincible. Later, he entered the eyes of the devil, and Uncle Huai killed Tianzuan, making them feel that Tianzuan was not invincible. Now, seeing the creatures in this chaotic era, they are already dying and half dead. As soon as they wake up, they take away the crystal nucleus and backbone of the sea whale. Take the crystal nucleus as food and the spine as a weapon, and then walk away. In front of him, I'm afraid the heaven-level strong can only crawl on the ground. I can always gain insight by following my boss. Many people ask me why I am so low-key. The key is, after seeing so much terror, can we get up in a high profile? Some are mourning a face-helpless tunnel. Arrogant people are those who have never seen the world. Those who have really seen the world never feel how strong they are, because they have seen the wider world. Only frogs in the well will croak, for fear that others will not know their existence. Damn, I don't even have a thank you. It's impolite to be the strongest fighter in the starry sky. After a while, the dragon dust just from shock reaction come over, can't help scolding. Although Long Chen doesn't care, what good can that person give him? but at least you have to have a word, so you leave. What is it? Boss, what is a star warrior? Guaran and others suddenly came to the spirit. They have been asking about the dragon dust, and now they don't have anything to do with it. Guaran and others have never heard of any star warrior, but they are convinced to see that person's terrorist means. It's the strongest under the starry sky. It seems to be worthy of it. Xiachen couldn't help sighing. That's before. I think that when the Dragon Blood Army reaches the top of martial arts, the strongest title will change its owner. Guaran is full of confidence. Come on, don't brag. It's all your own people. Who can I brag to? If you have the energy, you'd better think about how to improve yourself. Don't aim too high. It's too big and easy to pull eggs. Longshan doesn't have a good way. The strength of the Star Warrior is so strong that it makes people despair. It's really too big to surpass others now. The Star Warrior left, and the sea whales were scared away, but I believe they will come back soon. All the people are on the ghost ship. No one dares to attack the ship. Everything is safe. Xiachen still follows the original direction, bypasses the body of the sea whale and continues to sail. Longchen studies the puppets under the deck and finds that no matter what method is used, they can't be driven. Finally, he has to give up. The idea of taking them as puppets can't be realized. Next, there will be a long way to go. Longchen began to try to use Qinkuan Ding to refine the elixir. All the elixir made by Longchen before were made for others. And through Huayan business, some pills are transferred to the Luo family of Minghaotian. There are not only pills, but also countless fruits of heaven. Longchen wants to build a super team for the Luo family to make up for the mother's debt to the Luo family. During this time, the Demon Moon Furnace and the Moon Melting Star Refining Furnace have been busy, helping Longchen refine countless pills. Some of them are sent away, and some of them are given to Xiachen and others to improve their cultivation. At this time, Xiachen, Guaran and others had reached the seventh heaven of the Immortal King. The crown of the heavenly way became more and more solid, and they had more and more control over heaven and earth. Now, among all the people, only Longchen is still in the early days of the Immortal King. Even a heavy day has not reached. In the realm, Longchen has been far away. However, the dragon dust is not in a hurry. The dragon strongman said that the practice route of the 9-star body Ju is based on the physical body. It's easy to upgrade the physical body and the realm. There's no need to worry about loosening the foundation. When Longchen took out the heaven and earth cauldron to prepare for alchemy, he suddenly thought of one thing. Ilgo. If I use the heaven and earth cauldron to alchemy, won't the devil be released? Longchen's heart is half cold, and the devil will disturb his mind. Besides, this time Longchen calculated on him, and he doesn't know how to revenge. Let's look at the situation first, and try our best to discuss it. Dragon Dust carefully pushed open the lid, only opened a gap. If the devil has any change, he can close it for the first time. But when Longchen's mind sank into the heaven and earth cauldron, his face suddenly changed. The cauldron was empty, and the suppressed demons disappeared. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4065. At the beginning, Longchen was still on guard against the demons. Once he found something bad, he would rather give up refining pills with the heaven and earth cauldron than let the demons run out. Longchen even suspects that the demon is deliberately cheating him. When he lifts the lid of the tripod, he immediately breaks the seal. However, Longchen was shocked to find that the heart demon was really gone, and the heaven and earth cauldron was empty. Longchen repeatedly sensed that he could not exist. How is that possible? Longchen's eyes are silly, but the devil has disappeared. Has he been refined? However, Longchen soon overthrows this idea. The heart devil is his other side, and it can't disappear for no reason. Was it when I used the heaven and earth cauldron to break through the gate of the underworld that the heaven and earth cauldron loosened and let him run away? Longchen's heart is jumping wildly. It's only at this time that the heaven and earth tripod is out of his control. It's only at that time that the devil has a chance to escape. Think of here, Longchen can't help scalp numbness. Don't know in the future he will be the same as Leng Yuan, also split into two people, that can be troublesome. Bang! When he completely opened the heaven and earth cauldron, there was still no response. Long Chen even hoped that the heart demon could attack him. Unfortunately, things didn't develop as he hoped, and the heart demon really disappeared. At that moment, Long Chen was so disappointed that even the joy of using the heaven and earth cauldron to make pills was diluted. The devil disappeared, which made him extremely worried. At the same time, it seemed that he had lost the most important thing. Long Chen hates the demons, but he also has a certain fear of them. But when the demons leave, he feels empty and nagging, as if his soul is incomplete. Damn, where can I go? I don't even say hello. Long Chen looks at the empty heaven and earth tripod and mumbles to himself. But the heaven and earth cauldron is silent. Maybe it is the only one who knows where the devil is. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell Long Chen. It seems that it is just a weapon without any emotion, which has been cold all the time. After a long time, the dragon dust just put down the lost heart. The heart devil disappeared has become a fact, but the dragon dust believes that he will come to find his own one day. Without him, the heart devil is incomplete. Similarly, without the heart devil, the dragon dust is also incomplete. There will be a real contest between the two. Now what he has to do is to try to improve himself. In the future, he will not be defeated by the demons and then take them back. Think of here, Long Chen pressure heart upset mood, let oneself keep calm, began to heaven and earth ding alchemy. When Long Chen sent the flame into the heaven and earth cauldron, Long Chen found that the heaven and earth cauldron didn't react at all. After the Dan fire burned for half an hour, the heaven and earth cauldron was still cold. Well, it seems that it's too early to make alchemy. You need to activate the rune of the heaven and earth cauldron to make alchemy with fire first. Long Chen suddenly thought of the key. The heaven and earth tripod is in deep sleep and can't cooperate with Long Chen's alchemy at all. If you want to activate the alchemy ability of the heaven and earth tripod, you need to activate its alchemy rune first. If you want to activate these runes, you need to warm the heaven and earth cauldron with the power of fire for a long time. When those runes absorb enough power of fire, they can be activated. Only when these runes are activated can they be used as Dan Cauldron. As the inheritor of the memory of Emperor Dan, Long Chen naturally knows this step. However, with the strength of Hualinger and his powerful soul power, it is only a matter of blink to activate the rune of the boundary artifact level Dan Furnace. However, the heaven and earth cauldron has been warm for half an hour. Let alone activate the rune, it even feels cold. It's still rough. It seems that there's not a few days to activate it. Long Chen gives Hualinger the responsibility for heating the stove. Anyway, he is not in a hurry now. In order to keep himself from thinking about demons and relax himself, Long Chen either sits in the bow of the boat with Yu Qingxian to see the scenery or drinks with Guoran and others every day. This time, crossing the Tianhe River is a trip. With the ghost ship, it's smooth on the Tianhe River. No matter what level of the sea demon, it's a long way to see the ghost ship. It can be said that here, as safe as you want. However, the dragon blood soldiers are extremely diligent. Apart from drinking with Long Chen, they spend the rest of their time in practice. The dragon blood soldiers also often compete with each other to prove it. In particular, they eat the fruits of Long Chen's bipolar heavenly way. They are both bipolar supreme. When they control the power of bipolar, they seem to be astringent. If they want to completely control the new power, they can't do it in a day or two. They grope and merge in the battle, and they are also forging tacit understanding with each other. The reason why the Dragon Blood Legion can fight with the Dragon Dust is that they are strong enough. What's more, they can make up for each other's shortcomings and concentrate all their strength to the greatest extent. Through this array, they can play a terrible explosive force. They also know that they are just mortals. Apart from the support of Long Chen, they also rely on the collective strength. They know that they will be useless without the Dragon Blood Army. Now, they are the first group of Dragon Blood soldiers to be called together, so they have to shoulder more responsibilities. In the future, they need to guide more Dragon Blood soldiers, help them integrate into the army, find their tacit understanding, and make the Dragon Blood Army become a solid piece with the fastest speed. When all the dragon blood fighters come together, their strength comes together. Even in the face of heaven, they have nothing to fear. During this time, Yu Qingxian is not idle. She personally makes the immortal king pill for everyone. The quality of the pill Yu Qingxian makes is much higher than that of Longchen. Although Longchen was inherited by Emperor Dan, he didn't have time to make pills by himself. Most of the pills were made by Huolinger. The skill of alchemy is to use the advance, discard and retreat, but Longchen didn't have so much time and no way. Yu Qingxian is different. She is addicted to alchemy and has a persistent pursuit in the way of alchemy. Otherwise, she would not have refined the top-quality gold elixir at a young age and made a sensation in the whole world. If Longchen also devotes himself to alchemy, his achievements will not be left behind by Yu Qingxian, but he has too many things to do and his energy is scattered, so he can't be as focused as Yu Qingxian. In addition, Yu Qingchuan's original flame is rainbow-colored flame, which has pure power. The flame of Longchen takes into account all kinds of flames. Although its destructive power is amazing, it seems to be a bit broad but not refined when refining Dan, which is not as single-minded as Yu Qingxian. Yu Qingxian has been refining Xianwang pills. Some of them are given to Guoran and others, and most of them are left to Longchen, because Longchen told her that when he is promoted to a higher level, he needs a lot of pills. As time went by, half a month later, runes finally lit up on the heaven and earth cauldron, and Longchen became excited. We can finally alchemy. Let's see what degree the pills made by chaotic artifact will reach. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4066. It took half a month for the heater, and no one else. Longchen directly chose Xianwangdan to start refining, because Xianwangdan is the mainstream pill. Although the herbs are precious, the refining difficulty is relatively low, which is probably above the medium. After all, it's the first time to use the heaven and earth cauldron for alchemy, and Longchen doesn't know if he can succeed, so he chose Xianwang pill. After the end of the furnace, Longchen directly threw the precious medicine into the cauldron and began to refine the powder. What? When the precious medicine is thrown into the Dan Ding, Longchen almost doesn't jump up. How could that be? Yu Qingxian, who is protecting the Dharma for Longchen, is also shocked. The precious medicine that Longchen threw into the heaven and earth cauldron has disappeared, and there is no dust left. Longchen and Yu Qingxian look at each other. Look at me and I'll look at you. They are both experts in alchemy, but they have never seen such a situation. Longchen threw a handful of precious medicine into it again. This time, they saw clearly that the precious medicine melted in a flash, and then it was absorbed by the heaven and earth cauldron. Longchen, is it necessary to use precious medicine to sacrifice the cauldron first, so that the cauldron of heaven and earth can be fully fed before alchemy? Yu Qingxian said, "It's possible." Then Longchen threw the precious medicine into the heaven and earth cauldron one by one. At first, it was poured one by one, and then it was thrown one by one. In the end, Longchen is responsible for dumping the precious medicine out like garbage, while Yu Qingxian is responsible for throwing the precious medicine into the heaven and earth cauldron. Each of these precious medicines is extremely precious. If it was someone else, he would have died of flesh pain. But Longchen didn't care. There was chaos in the space, and he could have as many precious medicines as he wanted. What magic eye water lilies, narcissus, dragon star grass, here, just like weeds, crazy to throw into heaven and earth tripod. Longchen is also cruel. As many precious medicines as Lao Tzu wants, you can take them. I think you can take them. Yu Qingchuan's scalp is numb. She can't imagine how many precious medicines Longchen has. The precious medicines put into the heaven and earth cauldron for a whole hour are enough to make a mountain. The value of these precious medicines can't be estimated. Anyway, Yu Qingxian has never seen so many precious medicines in her life. Finally, the heaven and earth cauldron appears a dark brown divine light, and the precious medicine put into the heaven and earth cauldron by Longchen no longer disappears. It seems that the heaven and earth cauldron is finally fed, and the medicine fields of millions of miles in Longchen's chaotic space are almost wiped out by Longchen. In order to make the medicine field recover quickly, Long Chen lost an archaic demon corpse in the black soil. In this way, the precious medicine in the medicine field immediately began to grow. Long Chen began to formally refine the pill. He threw the precious medicine into the heaven and earth cauldron. The precious medicine melted instantly and became powder in a twinkling of an eye. Yu Qingxian exclaimed, refining medicine powder is the first step of alchemy. It seems simple, but in fact, the refining of medicine powder is directly related to the final quality of pills. When is used to refine the powder, it must be molded at one time. Even if there are more impurities, it can only be done so that it cannot be distilled 2 times. Yu Qingxian is an expert in alchemy. At a glance, he can see that the powder is so pure that it is impossible. No matter how much you control, there are some impurities in the medicine that cannot be eliminated. Once removed, the essence will be lost, that is, the so-called essence and dross. These dregs, which want to be eliminated, need to be obliterated step by step in the next refining process, in order to retain the essence of Dan medicine to the greatest extent. But the powder made by Long Chen does not contain any impurities. Not only Yu Qingxian is shocked, but also Long Chen looks unbelievable, which goes against the common sense of alchemy. Is it? Long Chen and Yu Qingxian think of one thing at the same time. Long Chen can't help but feel crazy. He seems to understand why Chen Kuan-Ding absorbs so many pills. Dragon dust has guessed a possibility. That is, Chen Kuan-Ding absorbed countless precious medicines. It has already become the warm pond of Dan medicine. When it is used to refine the medicine, it will absorb all the impurities directly, and at the same time make up the essence of the loss with its own ability. What Dan Xiu can't do doesn't mean Dan Lu can't do it. At that moment, while Long Chen and Yu Qingxian were shocked, they were also full of ecstasy. They saw another way on the road of alchemy. In the past, they just paid too much attention to their own alchemy skills and did not rely on the alchemy furnace. Now they have a powerful heaven and earth cauldron, which shows them another way of alchemy. Dragon dust sends all kinds of precious medicines into the heaven and earth cauldron and turns them into powder instantly. It doesn't need dragon dust to refine them. Everything is as easy as breathing. After the powder is refined, it's easy to mix and seal. There's no need for Long Chen to do anything. However, at the time of the elixir, there was a rune on the heaven and earth cauldron. At that moment, his essence, qi and spirit were absorbed by the heaven and earth cauldron. Long Chen was startled. It was the first time for him to encounter this kind of situation after years of alchemy. In the past, alchemy only needed the power of the soul. With the power of soul, controlling the power of heaven and earth, how can we still need our own essence, qi and God to join in? Fortunately, the suction of Chen Kuan-Ding ended in an instant, and did not bring any impact on Long Chen. Then Chen Kuan-Ding trembled slightly. Boom! All of a sudden, the sky trembles, and the endless cloud comes. Yu Qingxian is surprised. The cloud has already come before it has become a pill? In the fairyland, only the golden elixir is qualified to lead to natural calamity. The spirit elixir and the treasure elixir are not qualified to let the way of heaven bring down natural calamity. Even if there is a natural disaster, it is also the moment when the golden elixir takes shape. It will burst out a strong breath and be captured by the way of heaven before the natural disaster is brought down. Now the elixir is still gathering. It hasn't taken shape. The apocalypse has begun to gather. Yu Qingxian has never seen such a scene. More and more looting clouds gather, covering the whole ghost ship. Obviously, no matter what kind of ghost ship you are, you should be attacked. Just then, the heaven and earth tripod suddenly opened, which was not controlled by Long Chen at all. At the moment it opened, 9 golden pillars of light rose into the sky and went straight into the clouds. In the dazzling golden light, Long Chen and Yu Qingxian looked dull. The best gold elixir, 9 are all the best gold elixirs. Yu Qingxian can also refine the best gold elixir, or even the best gold elixir, but there is a certain probability. Yu Qingxian may not be able to produce one of the best gold elixirs in 100 furnaces, but Long Chen produced 9 of them at one time. Watching the gorgeous patterns on the elixir flow, the golden light overflows, and they feel as if they are in a dream. Bang! At this time, the sky clouds burst, countless thunder, like hundreds of millions of thunder snakes pouring straight to the 9 golden elixirs. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4067, Just as Long Chen was about to call Lei Linger out for dinner, the heaven and earth cauldron suddenly vibrated, and then the thunder snake disappeared. At that moment, the world was quiet, as if nothing had happened. On the 9 gold elixirs in the heaven and earth cauldron, thunder lines appeared. It was obvious that it was already a disaster elixir. This is that all? Long Chen's face is dull. He feels that it's over before he starts. It's too late to react. The inexhaustible power of thunder is almost equivalent to that of the immortal king of the normal bipolar supreme power. Before landing, he was absorbed by the heaven and earth cauldron. In the blink of an eye, the disaster disappears, and the Jindan disaster is completed. Everything comes too fast to give Long Chen any chance to react. Looking at the golden light flashing and the immortal king pill with Lei when flowing, Long Chen is stunned. He admits that he is really shocked. At the beginning, Long Chen was still thinking that it must be very difficult to use the heaven and earth cauldron for alchemy, but he didn't expect that everything would become so easy after the furnace and the sacrificial furnace. It was so easy that Long Chen couldn't believe it. It was as if he had just had a dream, and everything seemed so unreal. When you start with the pill, you can feel the surging power fluctuation in the pill. A pill seems to be a world in which endless energy is circulating and evolving its own rules. This elixir is too strong. I've never seen such a powerful elixir before. You are so powerful, Long Chen. Yu Qingchuan's eyes were full of excitement when she looked at the gold elixirs. It's not that I'm too strong, but it's so strong that I can't believe it's true. Long Chen said with a bitter smile. Long Chen continued to refine the pill, threw the precious medicine into the cauldron, and the powder was refined instantly, and everything was the same as before. After several breaths, the furnace is sealed, and Long Chen's big hand is patted on the heaven and earth cauldron. The huge suction reappears, and Long Chen's spirit is sucked away again. Boom! The sky clouds appear again, the thunder snake lands, the heaven and earth tripod trembles, the thunder disappears, and the 9 best gold elixirs are completed. Boom boom. Then the disaster kept falling and disappearing, and then falling and disappearing. Several breathing time, a furnace of Dan is good, Long Chen Lien for 2 hours, people have been tired, pale, breath is empty, spirit as if to be evacuated, had to stop. In these 2 hours, Long Chen refined more than 240 times and produced more than 2,000 gold elixirs. Each batch of elixir is the best elixir. There is no other quality elixir, and there is no waste elixir. Looking at more than 2,000 elixirs, Long Chen feels that he is going to faint happily. I see, Dan Road, gather the essence of plants and plants, gather together the spirit of heaven and earth in one body, between heaven and earth, artificial bridge, so combination, heaven, earth, human, the 3 integration. The 3 treasures of heaven, the sun, the moon and the stars, and the 3 treasures of man, essence, chi and spirit, can only be connected with heaven and earth by introducing the essence, chi and spirit into the pill. Yu Qingxian has a clear face. When Long Chen is abstracted, Yu Qingxian has been thinking hard about why the heaven and earth cauldron should do this. Now she understands that Yu Qingchuan's pretty face is full of excitement, and she has broken through a bottleneck in the way of elixir. Qingxian, try to use the heaven and earth cauldron for alchemy, so that we can take the opportunity to refine more pills. Longchen Road. The heaven and earth tripod can't see the light. There is no one on the Tianhe River, so you can use it boldly. But when you get to the place, you don't dare to use it indiscriminately. But what makes Longchen helpless is that the heaven and earth cauldron is not controlled by Yu Qingxian, and her flame can't drive the heaven and earth cauldron, so she finally has to give up. However, Yu Qingxian is not lost. She takes out her own furnace and begins to make pills. The heaven and earth cauldron enlightens her a lot. When she makes a furnace of pills, it immediately leads to disaster. This time, the heaven and earth cauldron didn't take the initiative to absorb. It didn't seem to be the disaster it brought. It disdained to absorb. Long Chen summons Lei Linger directly to devour the disaster. Yu Qingxian lifts the lid of the stove and finds that there is a golden elixir in it. He jumps up with excitement. You know, in the past, even if she refined dozens of furnaces, or even hundreds of furnaces, she might not be able to produce an elixir. Now a furnace of elixir has produced an elixir, and the quality of other elixirs is much better than before. Obviously, this is not luck and coincidence, but her alchemy has greatly improved. It's just that Yu Qingchuan's gold elixir has not been robbed. Long Chen asks Yu Qingxian to give the gold elixir to Lei Linger, and then Lei Linger quickly returns a robbed gold elixir to Yu Qingxian. Is that okay? Yu Qingxian was shocked. What's the difference between cheating and this? However, this is really Li Jiedan. She never thought that Li Jiedan could operate like this. After a few hours' rest, Long Chen continued to refine pills. Because the effect of the best gold pills was too strong, Long Chen didn't give them to Guoran and others for fear that something might go wrong. However, while there is no one on the Tianhe River, he needs to hurry up to refine the elixir. So when Long Chen is refining the elixir, Yu Qingxian helps Long Chen protect the Dharma, and at the same time, he keeps feeling the fluctuation of the heaven and earth cauldron, so as to prove the way of the elixir through the heaven and earth cauldron. When Long Chen is resting, Yu Qingxian begins to refine the elixir. She integrates her insights from the heaven and earth cauldron into her own way of alchemy. Even if she uses the boundary-level elixir furnace, she can also refine the best elixir. In almost every furnace, there will be one elixir. Although both of them are the best gold elixirs, and the quality of them is quite different from that of the best gold elixir made by Qingkuan Ding, Yu Qingxian has made much progress compared with the past. Yu Qingxian doesn't care how many gold elixirs she can make. What she is most excited about is that her understanding of the elixir road has reached a higher level. She has got the gold key to open the treasure. They are crazy about alchemy, and the natural disasters are constantly on their heads. They are either absorbed by the heaven and earth cauldron or by Lei Linger. The scene is strange and frightening. Long Chen and Yu Qingxian are engaged in alchemy. Other people are not idle and start to practice. They dare not eat the alchemy made by Long Chen, but they can eat the alchemy made by Yu Qingxian. Yu Qingchuan's golden elixir is also very powerful. Even Guoran and others can't bear the power of the elixir. If you swallow the elixir, you will have the desire to attack the 8 immortals. But if we make a breakthrough in this way, it will be bad. It will cause the foundation to be unstable. We can't try to improve the realm in a short time. They tried their best to suppress the power of Dan medicine. At the same time, they tried their best to practice and unload part of the indigestible power. Although it was a waste, they had to do so in order to stabilize the realm. The efficacy of the best golden elixir is different from that of the ordinary elixir. There is a qualitative difference between them, just like the boundary barrier between earth and heaven. A whole month later, Guoran, Xia Chen and the dragon blood soldiers, under the action of a golden elixir, directly broke through the realm and reached the immortal 8 heaven. On this day, Long Chen stopped alchemy. He looked into the distance and said solemnly, "The wind is blowing. Everyone is ready. The ghost ship is going to land. We are going to set foot on Nirvana." All of a sudden, the spirit of all people up, Nirvana is more ancient than the world of Xianshan, there are endless experts, they will face new challenges. At the same time, they also need to contact the brothers scattered in Nirvana. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4068 Sailing on the Tianhe River. There was no wind and no waves all the way, but the wind was blowing at this time, which means that the land is only 1 day away from them at most. Nirvana is about to land. Everyone is very excited. Nirvana is a more advanced world than Xianshan. It's just that the more advanced the world is, the more dangerous it will be. The so-called advanced refers to the integrity of the laws of heaven and various heritages. Xianshan is better preserved than Mingay Ocean, and Nianshan is better preserved than Xianshan. In the Chaos era, countless ancient heritages have been preserved. However, the more powerful the world is, the more fierce and cruel the competition will be. Most of the heavenly pride will fall quietly in the process of competition and become stepping stones of others. If you want to survive in this cruel world, you must follow some survival rules and adapt to the environment. For Tianwai Tianjiao, maybe they have the qualification to compete with local Tianjiao, but they don't have the background of local Tianjiao. And the local Tianjiao, born with a kind of arrogance, despises the talents from other places and thinks that they are just a group of frogs who have never seen the world. Therefore, it is very difficult for outsiders to integrate in here. Even if they go to some religious sects, they will be strictly examined and distrusted by religious sections. You don't want to integrate into the world unless you are planted with the slave seal. But Tianjiao is Tianjiao. Once you are planted with the slave seal, you become the slave of others. Few people can accept it. If you don't trust outsiders, you can't blame these sections. After all, Nirvana is different from Xianshan. Most of Xianshan's practitioners are human race, only a small number of demon race. As for other races, they are very few. However, in Nirvana, the number of human practitioners only accounts for about 20% of the whole Nirvana, but only 1/10 of the total. Nirvana is a real myriad of ethnic groups, including human race, demon race, blood race, spirit race, demon race, underworld race, and so on. Moreover, they occupied a large area of practice. In many places, the Terrans had no choice, otherwise they would be killed directly, or even could not make it right, which would lead to a war between the two races. In a word, we should not only be careful of the human race, but also other races in Nirvana. Nirvana is a real dangerous world with opportunities. The opportunity is as great as the danger is. In Nianshan, there are countless wild places in the Chaos era. Every year, countless people are attracted to take risks. Every year, countless people die in it. Similarly, every year, countless treasures are brought out from it. If it is said that the purple sky has been explored 9 times out of 10, then Nianshan is a wild land, and the exploration part is less than 12 times. It is reasonable to say that Nirvana is as strong as clouds, and there are many families. It should be very fast to explore. However, the relationship between the major forces of Nianshan was complex. Many places were occupied by powerful Archean races, and they did not explore by themselves or allow others to explore. Only a small number of ownerless places will attract adventurers to explore, but even so, those ownerless places, because of the confinement of the law of heaven, can't enter at all, and people can only explore in the periphery. Therefore, when it comes to Nirvana, countless strong people yearn for it, but they don't have the courage to go. Now, the ghost ship is about to dock, and it is about to set foot on the legendary wild land. Endless dangers and treasures are waiting for you, and excitement and tension fill everyone's heart. Boss, do we want to take a warship to the shore? It's too ostentatious to drive a ghost ship. If the news of the purple sun comes here first, we'll be exposed all of a sudden. Summer Morning Road. Long Chen nodded and said, "It's really necessary to keep a low profile. It's reasonable to say that the news of Xian can't reach here very quickly. I've inquired about it. Xian crossed the Tianhe River to Nianshan. If the route is safe, it will take half a year at the fastest. It took us only 2 months. In terms of news, don't worry about it for the time being. However, there are too many adherents of Nianshan Taigu, and many of them have bad relations with the human race. Let's keep a low profile and find out the situation first. We don't want to attract attention as soon as we come up. Nianshan is not like Xianshan. Here, he has no one to support him. He has to take it easy. Boss, when we enter Nirvana, will you take us to explore some wild relics? We'll make some money by the way." Guoran couldn't help saying, "You'd better wait until you find Emon Yen to explore the ruins. As for me, forget it. I'm in bad luck. Every exploration is a near death. You're safer than me." Long Chen said with a bitter smile. "The last time I explored in 30,000 worlds, if not for the elder of Tiantong clan, they might have all died in the catacombs. Those horrible archaic corpses, in retrospect, should be at the level of heaven, not what they can deal with at all. Long Chen doesn't want to experience that feeling of powerlessness in his life. He doesn't want to live by luck. He must have absolute self-protection ability and go to the waves again. At the mention of Emon Yen, Xia Chen and Guoran's eyes suddenly shine. Emon Yen has an appointment with them. When Ni Ingtian arrives, he will take them to do a big job. Who is Emon Yen? An old criminal. He is very rich. If you follow him, there will be plenty of money. Boom. Suddenly there was a distant roar. What's going on? There's the smell of demons. Xia Chen looks at the distance, but sees nothing. With the rapid speed of the ghost ship, soon, the evil spirit between heaven and earth became heavier and heavier, and the roar became louder and louder. It's the wave of sirens. The sirens are going to land. Long Chen Road, he experienced the demon tide. They can be destroyed by the power of the sea demon, just like the power of the sea god. After the waves, the sea monsters can take the opportunity to launch a massacre. The picture is extremely bloody and terrifying. Unexpectedly, they just came here and encountered this situation. Let's see in the past. If the sea demon is dealing with the Terran, we can help. If it's other races, we can study whether to help or not. Longchen Road. The ghost ship sped all the way, and soon saw the land in front of it. The land was full of sea monsters, and they were rushing forward crazily. A series of shunhui fell into the monsters and blasted them to pieces. Yu Qingxian said, "It's a skill launched by the human race. Then go and help." Long Chen nodded. He also saw that the attack contains the spirit wave, should be the Terran resistance. All right, Xia Chen responded excitedly, raised the speed of the ghost ship to the extreme, and rushed straight at the sirens. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4069. As the ghost ship sped forward, an endless number of monsters appeared in front of the ship. To everyone's surprise, most of these monsters were immortal, and the number was endless. When the ghost ship came, countless monsters ran away in fear, but their speed was slow. When the ghost ship reached them, their bodies became stiff, and then they floated on the sea and died. The horror of the ghost ship, even the heaven-level monsters, dare not get close. These fairy king-level monsters, infected by that breath, instantly die. Where the ghost ship passed, endless monsters floated on the sea, and there was no need for the dragon blood soldiers. But they didn't have time to pick up the corpses. They knew that Longchen had been collecting corpses. After all, the growth of Fusang ancient wood and Taiyin wood requires too much life force, just like a bottomless cave. The number of such corpses depends on the number of dragon dust. Although Fusang ancient wood and Taiyin wood are still in their infancy, the power of life they can provide to Longchen is endless. Apart from his eyes, he does not care about his physical injuries. As the ghost ship sped forward, the land was gradually seen in front. On the land, the sea monsters, like mountains, had rushed to the land and roared wildly. In the depths of the land, some powerful Terrans are fighting against the sea demon. The earth has been dyed red with blood, and the corpses are piled up like a mountain. It seems that we are overstepping our duty if there are strong people in heaven. Dragon dust in the depths of the battlefield, sensing a strong atmosphere, cannot help but smile. Although there are many monsters, the strongest one is only the earth's level. The heaven's strong one is in charge, and everything is under control. But at this time, the ghost ship has rushed straight to the land. The water here is very shallow. It's too late to turn around. We can only let the ghost ship rush to the land. Boom! The earth trembled, and a deep ditch was plowed by the ghost ship. On both sides of the ditch, all the sea demons infected by the ghost ship died. Ghost ship speed is too fast, strong inertia, has been on the land for more than 100,000 miles, straight to the core of the battlefield before slowly stop. At the core of the battlefield, there were innumerable strong men, with the help of fortifications, fighting with the sea demons. When the ghost ship comes, endless sea monsters die one after another. Only some relatively powerful and faraway sea monsters run away. As soon as the ghost ship arrives, The sea monsters retreat like the tide and disappear in an instant. In the eyes of tens of millions of sea demons, it seems that they are more frightened than the ghosts of thousands of people. Uncle Huai, you hide your accomplishments. Long Chen stealthily says to Uncle Huai, who nods and suppresses his breath to the top of the world. Who are you? At this time, the people in front of the fortification found Long Chen and others standing in the bow. The questioner was a man with white skin. His appearance was pretty good, but he was arrogant and didn't seem to pay attention to anyone. Long Chen and others drove the ghost ship to save people, which was a great help to them. But the man didn't feel grateful. He asked, just like interrogating a prisoner, which made people feel uncomfortable. It seems that we are meddling. Guoran looked at the man, looked at the other strong men, and said, on the faces of these people, they saw shock, curiosity, hostility, but no gratitude. The feeling of hot face sticking cold buttocks is very bad. Now the ghost ship can't drive anymore. Long Chen and others can only get off the ship and leave. However, Long Chen and others want to go, but others don't want them to go. As soon as they get off the ghost ship, the white-faced man takes people to stop Long Chen and others. What do you want to know? Who the hell are you? What's the matter with this ghost ship? The white-faced man was furious when he saw that Long Chen ignored him. I'm not obliged to answer you. If you don't want to die, go away. Long Chen frowned and said coldly. Guoran, Xia Chen and others are also angry. Are these people idiots? That's how they treat their benefactor? If they didn't come here, I don't know how many people are going to die. I don't have a sense of gratitude. Instead, I deliberately aim at them. Is this still human? Even if it's an animal, it won't be so ungrateful, will it? Ha, it's such a big joke. You are nothing. You dare to say such a big thing to me, Yi Wenxuan? The white-faced man looked up at the sky and laughed, deliberately releasing the divine power and shaking the sky. The white-faced man was a strong man in the later period of the Fairy King, but his breath was very terrible, and he was a supreme man. Before that, it was he who took all the people to fight back and forth in the tide of demons and beasts. He was invincible and was on the rise. When Long Chen and others arrived, they scared away the demons and robbed him of the limelight. While Long Chen and others can actually control the ghost ship, which shocked him, there is also a trace of jealousy. What makes him most jealous is Yu Qingxian, who is as beautiful as heaven. His jade hand has been holding Long Chen's arm, so he is not angry. I don't care who you are, what background you come from, what backing you have behind you. Don't try to inquire about my origin, or provoke me to test my background. Otherwise, when you regret it, it's too late. Long Chen looks at Yi Wenxuan, and a touch of coldness appears in his eyes. It's true from the outside world that these local strongmen can identify themselves as extraterrestrial strongmen at a glance. Although they are human, they will not be close to you at all, but will try to embarrass you. They see that Long Chen can control the ghost ship and is a man from outside the sky. If they don't tell the secret of their origin, they don't want to leave. When Long Chen talks, he looks at a place in the fortification intentionally or unintentionally. There, Long Chen feels a strong breath, and there is a heaven-level strong man. It's just that the Tianzuan strong man hasn't shown up all the time and seems to connive at Yi Wenxuan. Obviously, they don't take Long Chen and others seriously. They want Long Chen to tell them the secret. Toasting, no penalty. In this case, I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Come on, take all of them for me. With a sneer and a wave of his big hand, Yi Wenxuan suddenly saw dozens of strong men coming to Long Chen. Poof! As a result, those people just came only to see a flash of cold light, blood light splash, dozens of heads skyrocketing. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4070 Choking, dozens of swords enter the scabbard. The sound of the scabbard coming out of the scabbard and the scabbard coming in is almost the same, but it is elongated. There was no fluctuation on the faces of the dragon blood soldiers, as if they had done a trivial thing, and more than 20 bipolar supremacies were killed in an instant. Looking for death, Yi Wenxuan is very angry. At the beginning he didn't pay attention to Longchen and others. After all, Longchen and others don't have the breath of nirvana, and they are foreign. Even if Longchen and others came in ghost boats, he didn't regard them as powerful people. He thought that only bluffing could scare them. Not only did he think so, but the 20 strong men also thought so. Then the dragon blood soldiers didn't scare them. If they didn't fight, they would die. Under the fury of Yi Wenxuan, his hand is like electricity, and his claws are like hooks. He takes Longchen's throat directly. At the moment of his hand, the vision is opened, and his powerful power makes the way of heaven roar. It has to be said that Yi Wenxuan is very powerful, and because he is a strong man born and raised in Niangshan, he will be blessed by the way of heaven if he combines with the Tao and raises his hands and feet. The outsiders are not the same, because the laws between heaven and heaven are different. If you want to stand in nirvana, you must get the recognition of nirvana's laws. It takes about half a year for a strong man outside the sky to get the approval of nirvana. Only when he gets the approval of nirvana can he use the power of heaven. This is also why outsiders just come here. Everything is so difficult, they will be bullied by the people here. Without the blessing of the way of heaven, the method can't arouse the resonance of the way of heaven. Naturally, the attack power will be greatly reduced. If you come here for the first time, you will be forced to cut off half of your accomplishments. Therefore, any strong person who comes here must be honest. Bang! When Yi Wenxuan moves, Longchen doesn't move, but a big metal hand grabs his wrist. Then Yi Wenxuan looked at Guoran, who was covered with armor. At the same time, he had a sharp pain in his wrist, as if he was about to be pinched off. When Guo Xianran looses his hand, he will naturally dodge, even if he does not release his hand. But Yi Wenxuan miscalculated. Guoran's whole body was wrapped by armor, and there was no dead corner. There was no saying that there was no key point, and there was no need to dodge. Not only do you need to dodge, but at the moment when Yi Wenxuan kicks, Guoran gives birth to sharp spines under his belly, flashing cold light, just like a hedgehog. Then, under the direct vision of Longchen and others, Yi Wenxuan kicks on it, and his calf and sole are punctured instantly. Ah! Yi Wenxuan screams like killing a pig. Guoran's sharp spines are passive defense, which are poisonous. If it's just poisonous, there's rust scraped from the ghost ship on it. Xia Chen depicts the rust on the tip of the needle with a ray. Once it's punctured, it's over. See Yi Wenxuan's cruce, a moment of decay. The most terrible is carrion in the continuous spread. Let Wenxuan go, or you'll all die. Just then, the void burst open, and the powerful man finally appeared. It was a middle-aged man in a gold silk white robe. He looked about 40 years old, and his face was white. At this time, he looked at Longchen with an angry face. We all have to die? Hee, I want to see how we died. A touch of irony appeared in the corner of Longchen's mouth. Longchen knows that Yi Wenxuan and others deliberately provoke them, which is actually a kind of trial, but this way is extremely insulting. Let's not say whether Longchen has helped them or not. Even if we don't have any relationship, this kind of trial is clearly to hit others in the face. Longchen has been used to beating other people's faces in his life, but if others want to beat him in the face, they can't be used to their problems. Longchen knows that Yi Wenxuan seems to have a certain identity. He planned to teach him a lesson. According to the normal routine, when the god behind the scenes comes out at this time, he should first make an apology and say that the child is not sensible. In his face, everyone will forget it. Longchen doesn't know how to deal with people. We don't know each other. Although we may not be able to become friends, at least we won't make things too rigid. But this guy, as soon as he came out, was full of brawls. What he said made them all die, and the anger of Longchen came up all of a sudden. Ignorant, since you don't know how to praise me, then go to die. The emperor was very angry. When he pointed out, he saw a divine light running straight to Guoran's eyebrows. Almost as soon as it appeared, it was in front of Guoran's eyebrows. Boom! Longchen had been prepared for a long time. Ming Hong's sword came out of its sheath and cut it down to the divine light with a bang. Longchen snorted and was shocked to fly out. His blood was surging, and almost a mouthful of blood gushed out. Dragon Dust suddenly angry. This guy is extremely arrogant, even really under the killer. Uncle Huai, kill him. Long Chen is completely angry. He's also a human race. He is unreasonable. He is in trouble everywhere. He is a killer. Even other races may not be so hard on them, right? Seeing that Long Chen broke his finger wind with a knife, the strong one was surprised that day. He didn't keep his hand with that blow. A little fairy king of Long Chen blocked it. And in the moment that Long Chen blocked that blow, his eyes were full of murders. Such a person must not stay. The vision behind him opened, and he was about to kill Long Chen. Suddenly, on the earth, a wooden spear appeared out of thin air and stabbed down from behind him. Poof! The wooden spear appeared out of thin air, without any sound. The heavenly strong man did not expect that there was a terror master hiding here. He was just about to dodge, but it was too late, and his body was directly pierced. At the moment when his body was pierced, he was frightened to find that the energy in his body was rapidly passing away. The face of the emperor changed greatly. Suddenly, his hands were sealed, and a mouthful of blood gushed out. The blood turned into a strange totem in the air. Shengguang Shueduan, with a sudden tremor, the powerful man pulled out of the wooden spear and got into the bloody totem. At the moment when he broke away from the wooden spear, we could see that the flesh and organs of his chest were pulled out. Originally, the wooden spear pierced into his body and quickly took root in his body. The man was also a ruthless man. He gave up part of his flesh and blood and escaped from the control of the wooden spear. You wait for me, our Yi family will not let you go. The powerful man of heaven penetrated into the blood color pattern, and man disappeared in an instant, but his roar rang between heaven and earth. When the www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4071, Damn, since they're looking for death, it's up to them. Long Chen's anger is rising. What's the name of it? It's a good thing, but it's a revenge. Is Lao Tzu crazy, or is the world crazy? Guoran and others are also suffocating. Are these people animals? Even if it's a group of animals, people should know how to be grateful for helping them. The emperor fled. With an apologetic look on his face, Uncle Huai said, I'm sorry, I'm too dependent on the underworld Dharma array. I'm too slow to let him escape. For so many years, Uncle Huai has relied on the array to capture the strong. His hands-on ability has degenerated a lot. Otherwise, by surprise, he will die. It's okay, Uncle Huai. It doesn't matter whether he can escape or not. We can't kill all the people here. Long Chen comforts away. Otherwise, he'll let you go. At this time, Yi Wenxuan screams in horror. For a while, his lower body has rotted, and he is caught by Guoran, unable to struggle, but his mouth is still threatening people. Poof, Long Chen didn't bother to talk to him. He pointed it out and pierced his eyebrows. The power of his soul broke out and directly violently searched his soul. Immortal family, God family? Through violent soul searching, Long Chen learns that Yi Wenxuan is from an immortal family, and his family is known as the God family. The so-called immortal aristocratic family means that there are immortal class strong people in charge. Immortality is the realm above the heaven. It is said that when we reach that realm, we will never die or perish, and live together with the eternal. The immortal in the mortal world refers to such a strong person, such an existence that countless practitioners have no chance to contact in their lifetime. When Long Chen first heard of the realm of immortality, he immediately thought of a person, that is, the old man sweeping the floor of Lingshao Academy. Little Crane said that their colorful crane family has a very long life. She sent away several generations of the dean, while the old sweeper sent away several generations of colorful crane. Only the immortal strong can have such a terrible life. Immortal aristocratic family means that the family has immortal class strong people, or there have been immortal class strong people with immortal inheritance. The God of Heaven, only in the archaic times, appeared. When the God of Heaven was born, it was a vision of heaven. Shui was added to the body. It was known as the God of Heaven. After the archaic era, there was no God born between heaven and earth, and the god became a legend. However, Longchen did not expect that Yi Wenxuan's family was immortal, and he was also a descendant of the god. No wonder he was so arrogant. It's a pity that Yi Wenxuan's family can't collect any secret information from his family. Longchen kills Yi Wenxuan. The faces of countless strong people on the scene change. They look at Longchen in horror. They can't imagine that a group of outsiders dare to kill Yi Wenxuan. If they do that, they have committed a terrible crime. Longchen's eyes glanced at those strong men who wore the same clothes as Yi Wenxuan. On their chests, they were all painted with the word Yi, in Jiuli immortal script with golden silk thread, which was very easy to identify. When Longchen's eyes swept over these people, they immediately bristled with sweat, as if they had been watched by wild beasts, and the cool wind was blowing from the back of their necks. As a matter of fact, Longchen has a heart to search for the soul and wants to see what the origin of the Yi family is. But when he thinks about the arrogance of Yi Wenxuan, he can only read such a little information. I'm afraid he can get even less information from others. You, come out and ask you a few words. If you don't want to die, answer whatever you ask. If you want to die, kill yourself immediately. Don't waste time. Longchen points to a strong person who respects the environment. Even if I'm trembling, I can only ask you a question calmly. I ask you to answer, say more, say less, and die. Longchen's face is cold tunnel. Where is this? The old man shivered and said in a hurry, Jiangning State, is this your yes territory? Longchen asked. No, we were invited to fight the wave of sirens. The old man said, please? It's money, isn't it? Longchen sneers. Yes, the old man was embarrassed. Longchen's face was covered with a smile of sarcasm. You don't need to ask what happened. I ask you, can Jiangning ask others to help? Longchen asked. This. Pa. At the moment when the old man hesitated, Guoran slapped the man in the face and made him stagger. When my boss asks you something, do you dare to hesitate? No more hesitation, it's not a slap in the face, but a knife to cut off your head. Guoran snapped. The man was surprised and angry. He respected the strong and was slapped in the face. He was also beaten by a fairy boy. It was a great shame. But see the Huaishu standing beside Longchen, it is even the existence of heaven can be scared away, finally he can only endure. Of course, you can ask anyone to help, but Jiangning has a good relationship with our Yi family. Naturally, we asked for help at the first time. The old man swallowed his anger. Yi family have really made a good calculation, using the tide of the sea demon as a place of trial, which can not only hone the fighting power of the disciples, but also collect money. The most important thing is that at the same time of collecting money, others still owe you a huge favor. Longchen sees a group of people in the distance looking at himself with complicated faces. Where does Longchen not know what's going on? On the battlefield, it was the Yi family that united the disciples of other forces to clean up the sea demon. Those local strong people had no chance to play at all. The sea demon is full of treasures. The tide of sea demon is both a disaster and an opportunity. The Yi family does not allow the local strong to take advantage of it. They have to collect money and Jiangning State owes them a favor. From the distance, those who dare to see all the consequences of Qiangyuanka's anger. What immortal inheritance, what god family, eats so ugly, your ancestors' face all lost. Longchen can't help but scold. I've never seen such a shameless person, such a big force, fighting for food with a group of low-level practitioners, and the appearance of eating is so shameless, so no one else. The old man's face turned red when he was scolded, but he didn't dare to say anything. Although his eyes were full of resentment, he didn't dare to show it. He was afraid that Longchen would cut off his head in a rage. I know that your Yi family will come to me. Help me tell them that I don't care what immortal family you are, the god family. Don't provoke me, or the third master of the dragon will get angry and the consequences will be very serious. Longchen said, a wave, people on the boat, in the eyes of countless people whistling away. P.S. Today's first night, the old devil has a good idea, and the New Year's Day is more exciting. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4072 Bang, as Long Chen and others just left, the void burst into pieces, and 3 figures appeared at the same time. All of them were dressed in yes clothes, and one of them was the heavenly strong man who had just fled. "Asshole, where are they?" The mighty roared. "My lord, those maniacs have just escaped. They are going in that direction." An old man who had been busy pointing to the direction was asked. "Stupid, useless things, why don't you stop them?" The emperor was furious. At this time, his breath is empty and floating. It's obvious that Uncle Huai's blow hit him hard and he can't recover in a short time. The old man immediately lowered his head and didn't dare to say anything, but he thought in his heart, "You can't stop it, how can I stop it?" But he didn't dare to contradict the man, for fear of being slapped to death, so he had to bear it. Did he say anything? The 2 men who came with that man were also the most powerful, and one of them was cold. He said it, but what he said is not so pleasant to hear. "I dare not say it." The old man said. "Say," the strong one in heaven said angrily. His original words are like this: "Help me tell them, I don't care what immortal family you are, the God family, don't provoke me, otherwise the 3rd master of the dragon will get angry, and the consequences will be very serious." The old man said. "Pa." As soon as the old man finished speaking, he was slapped by the injured heaven strongman. "Damn, the little bunny is going to heaven. If you want to escape from the palm of my hand, I will give you my surname." Poor old man, he was stunned by a slap when he just said something about Long Chen. It is estimated that when he wakes up, he will say hello to the whole family of the heavenly strongman. What an arrogant boy. Since he doesn't report to his family, even if he kills him, it's no big deal. Let's go, catch up with him and torture him to see who is so arrogant. The other one snorted coldly. The 3 people's bodies flash and disappear between the heaven and the earth at the same time. The boat roared away from the coastline and sped inland. "Boss, why do you want to escape? With Uncle Huayan, we will kill as many people as they come. There's no need to be polite to these animals." Guoran couldn't help saying. There are many of them, and they are their main battlefield, and they can build channels, and the strong will come in a steady stream. Ninefold is not a purple sky, and Yi family is an immortal family, a family of gods. The inside information must be frightening. On the one hand, we don't have to fight with them. On the other hand, even if we are against them, we need some ways to avoid losses. Long Chen wrote. "By the way, do you think that the strong people of the Yi family are familiar?" Long Chen suddenly said. "It seems that you are really familiar with it. It seems that you have met it somewhere." Guoran Alung immediately way. "Yes, we also feel that their breath has a similar feeling." Other dragon blood soldiers also said. Xiachen suddenly patted her thigh and said excitedly, "Eldest brother, Yi family, for Protoss of Tianwu." As like as 2 peas, see light suddenly, and the suddenly said, "Is right and right." It's just like the smell of Yes family. The face of Yi Wenxuan is exactly the same as the voice of the dead devil. Is this Yi family of Tianwu Protoss from Nirvana? There's something incredible about summer morning. In this case, the original dragon, Zhao Yi Jiang for gods, are a vein of God? Isn't the eldest brother also a god? Guoran looks at Long Chen. His face is full of disbelief. Long Chen also fell into meditation. At the beginning, in the Shinto Sutra Pavilion, Long Chen read countless ancient books and knew that the immortal family had a pulse of heaven and God. But when I read the list, many classics disappeared. Long Chen inquired about it and said that the president had taken part of the classics away. No one knew what he was doing. In retrospect, the integrity of the collection of Lingshao Academy must have something to do with the origin of the major gods. It's obvious that he didn't want to see it. Did the old dean already know where I came from? Long Chen's heart is beating wildly. Although Long Chen is now a strong immortal king, he always thinks that Bai Lishan's cultivation is like a sea, and he can't be a fairyland. I'm afraid that even a strong immortal can't achieve that kind of temperament. At the same time, Long Chen thought of the old man sweeping the floor, especially the other turbid eyes, as if they had already penetrated everything. Are the four families of Dragon, Zhao, Yi and Jiang really gods? Then why do they stay in the world? What is their purpose? Long Chen doesn't understand. Is there any secret involved in it? If there is a secret involved in it, I'm afraid it's not easy. Long Chen has a sense of conspiracy. Master, they are coming. Suddenly Wei Shu's voice interrupted Long Chen's thinking. How many of them, Uncle Huai? Long Chen asked. 3, and one of them is the one who missed the net. Huai Shu said. Uncle Huai, give us the fish who missed the net. Can you take the remaining 2? Long Chen asked. Let me prepare for it. It should be no problem to fight against 3 with 1. I don't need the master to take risks. If there is any damage to the master, I can't stand it. Huai Shu is in a hurry. You know, it's Heaven's strong one. Even if he's hurt, it's not a group of fairy king boys who can deal with it. He's afraid that dragon dust will make a mistake, and his guilt will be great. After all, Long Chen let him out. He is grateful, afraid of Long Chen accident, so he will feel guilty for a lifetime. Don't worry, Uncle Huai. I won't do anything I'm not sure about. We've just arrived in Nirvana, and we still have the smell of purple. If you want to adapt to the way of heaven here as soon as possible, you need a big war to arouse the law of heaven and earth to change your own breath. We can use his power to change our own breath, so that we won't be recognized as outsiders at a glance, and it's very convenient to walk. Long Chen said with a smile. Then you should be careful. Don't try to be brave. See dragon dust such as say, Huai uncle can only exhort away. Boom, the void concussion, 3 figures break through the air, 3 people with a startling atmosphere, come to the murderous. It's desolate and empty. 3 Yi Jiaqiang, following the mark, came here, suddenly stopped. Don't hide. Get out and die. Before the roar of the elder brother, he knew that he was hurt by the dragon. Are you blind? You can't see such a large group of people as Lao Tzu. Who can hide them? At this time, on the top of a high mountain, Long Chen looked at the 3 people, cold tunnel. They didn't hide at all. They just stood there, and the idiot didn't see them. Death, seeing Long Chen and others, he suddenly became angry and rushed to Long Chen. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4073, Elder 9, Wait a minute. The wounded old man was caught by an old man next to him. 7 Elder, what are you doing? The 9 elders said angrily. It turned out that these 3 men were the 7, 8 and 9 elders of the Yi family. The 9 elders were injured and suffered a great loss. They immediately called the other 2 elders to kill them. Elder 7 looked at Long Chen and Huai Shu beside Long Chen and said, Who are you? If you don't give a proper reason, you will die without a place to bury yourself. This person's tone is very sharp, but in fact he also wants to feel the details of his opponent. After all, the person who can hurt the 9 elders is definitely not a general person. Although the 9 elders said that he was careless at that time and was attacked secretly, so he was injured. But when the 7 elders saw Uncle Huai, they could not help but feel awe in their heart. They knew that he was a terrorist, so they wanted to find out the details of each other first. Challenge the Yi family? Long Chen and other people laugh. They help Yes family, but they are avenged by you. They fight back and become a provocation? Is there anyone more unreasonable in the world? Long Chen didn't want to talk nonsense with them. He said coldly, If you want to do it, you can do it. If you don't want to do it, you can't get rid of it. There's so much nonsense. Long Chen knows that they want to know if Long Chen has a backstage. If the backstage is hard enough to match the Yi family, there is still room for negotiation. But if the day after tomorrow is not strong enough to be ignored by the Yi family will kill them and will no longer have any scruples. At the same time, there is an unwritten rule in the practice world, that is, if you don't report yourself when you are in danger, even if you are killed, it is difficult to be held responsible. Although the Yi family is an immortal family and a family of gods, at this time, asking about the origin of Long Chen also proves that even the family of gods is not an absolute authority in Nirvana. They also have the power they fear. Otherwise, They don't need to know the details of Longchen. In that case, you all die. 7 Elders see Dragon Dust has no intention to reveal identity. Suddenly angry, this is obviously despise them. Boom. At the same time, the 3 Yi family deities put out their hands. The vision behind them opened up and covered the sky. If the 3 deities came, at that moment, they were in control of everything. Life and death were irresistible. Uncle Huai took the hand, and he clapped it down with one hand. The unique breath of the undead broke out, and behind it a pagoda tree appeared. You are undead. 3 people a surprise. Before Huaishu has been hiding breath, they can't see Huaishu origin, but Huaishu a hand, they immediately recognized Huaishu identity. Bang, Uncle Huai's hand fell, and the immortal spirit twinkled, and the rules of the road collapsed. Under the astonishment and anger of the 3 Yi Jiaqiang, they resisted at the same time. With a bang, the mountains collapsed, and thousands of roads roared, and the terrible waves swept the sky in an instant. Long Chen and others had been prepared for a long time, but they were still rolled out by the terrible waves, and the power of heaven could not resist. Too strong, Xia Chen saw for the first time the battle between the Tianzuan-level strongmen, and it was hard to resist just the aftereffects. The beautiful scenery of the surrounding mountains and rivers was wiped out in an instant. The real destruction of heaven and earth was made by Tianzuan. Looking at the cracks in the void like cobwebs, everyone's heart was beating wildly. Is the undead great? How dare you make enemies with my Yi family and seek death? The 7 elders roared and learned the identity of Uncle Huai. Although they were shocked, they suddenly put down their fear. The sword came out of its sheath, and the rainbow startled the sky. They chopped Uncle Huai down. At the moment, he is the real killer of pain. Although the undead have a strong background, they have a bad relationship with the human race. They often fight against each other, so they don't need to worry about it. The 7 elders cut down in the air with one sword. In an instant, they reached Uncle Huai's brow. Uncle Huai snorted coldly, "It's nothing to be immortal, but it shouldn't take much effort to kill you." Uncle Huai is dull and easygoing. He can't get angry easily. Because of this, he can live so long in the eyes of the devil. If he is a man with a short temper, he will be angry to death. See 7 elder a sword cut to come. Huai uncle suddenly big hand a close, pa of forcefully long sword clip. When the sword was clamped, it was as if it was cast in Uncle Huai's hand. The power of the 7 elders' sword disappeared in an instant, just like a bullock into the sea. At the same time, the sword was covered with a layer of bark-like things, and quickly wrapped around his big hand. Elder 7's face changed. He didn't know what it was, but when he saw it, he felt numb. He broke off drinking. The vision behind him suddenly darkened, the sword trembled and exploded. He broke out with all his strength and finally broke away from Uncle Huai's hand. Boom! The bark covered on the sword was torn apart and hit the earth, which directly knocked out big holes. The cave was just formed, and the earth was poisoned. Millions of miles of earth were covered with bark in a moment. The scene was extremely shocking. Elder 7 just broke free from Uncle Huai's hands. Elder 8 and Elder 9 have already killed him, and 2 long swords point directly at Uncle Huai's heart. Suddenly, a long purple stick came out of Uncle Huai's hand and smashed them. The purple shenhui burst out and infected the whole world. Boom! With a bang, the void explodes, the violent force tears the earth, endless magma erupts from the ground, and the whole world instantly turns into a sea of fire. The fragments of the way of heaven are interwoven with endless lava. The waves of air, like the waves of death, spread in all directions, obliterating all the vitality between heaven and earth. The hand of the god brings endless destruction. Long Chen and others quit the long distance, but they are still hurt by the terrible wind, just like a knife. In front of the emperor, they seem so small. Heaven is too strong, God and Tao are in harmony, meaning and Dharma are in harmony, hands and feet are raised, heaven's will is returned, and all Dharma are attached, so it is impossible to fight. Yu Qingxian sighs as he looks at Uncle Huai's fierce fight against the 3 heavenly heroes. Tianzuan is an insurmountable barrier. They can defeat the Earth Strong. They are not afraid of the 3-flower level Earth Strong, but they are so powerless in front of Tianzuan. This kind of powerlessness comes from the oppression of the Way of Heaven. The Way of Heaven is controlled by the God. There is no place for them. How can we fight against them? It's really hard to deal with the combination of the 3 flowers and the integration of heaven and earth. However, our dragon blood army never succumbs to the Way of Heaven. What about Tianzuan? Is he older than heaven? Longchen wrote. Longchen has been fighting against the Way of Heaven ever since he practiced the 9-star body Ju. But Longchen never compromise, never fear. Boom! With 1 enemy and 3 enemies, Uncle Huai was able to kill in the dark and the sun and the moon, but he didn't lose at all. Even without the blessing of the underworld Dharma array, his strength was still strong. Suddenly, a figure withdraws from the battle circle. It's Elder 9. He has a sinister face and a flash of body. He even faces Longchen and others who are watching. I can't beat the old ones. I'll kill you kids first. 9 Elder a face in smile. 2 eyes in the murderous opportunity surge violently. Let's fight together and kill the calf. When the 9 elders rush to Longchen and others, Longchen's big hand leans behind him and holds the handle of Minghong's sword tightly. Guoran, Xiachen and others' fighting spirit is ignited in an instant. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4074 Elder 9 and the other 2 elders of the Yi clan deal with Uncle Huai together. However, because he was seriously injured by Uncle Huai, he can't recover for a while. The most important thing is that under the serious injury, he is not strong enough to bear the impact of the Way of Heaven and cannot fully control the power of the Way of Heaven. In this way, his combat power is at most 70% of his normal level. In this state, it is difficult for him to cause substantial damage to Uncle Huai. In his fury, he suddenly throws his anger on Longchen and others. He knows that if he attacks Longchen, Uncle Huai will come to rescue him. In this way, they will take the initiative instead of being passive. Bang! The 9 elders' sword tears the void and points at the dragon dust. God ring now, Dragon King fighting body, open. The dragon dust stops drinking and shakes heaven and earth. The 7 colors of God ring appear behind. At the same time, the whole body is covered with golden scales. The sound of dragon singing is loud, and the violent force of qi and blood rises up and shatters the clouds in all directions. Choking, Minghong's sword came out of its sheath and fell like a heavenly sword. Xinghe trembled, and with the supreme intention of killing, he met the 9 elders. 9 elders never dreamed that a little strong man in fairyland could burst out such a terrible force, and the knife even brought death threat to him. Boom! There was a big bang, the heaven and the earth trembled, and the void was disillusioned. In the meantime, Longchen and the 9 elders flew out at the same time. With this blow, they even fought for the same goal. What? 9 Long eldest brother is surprised. He is shocked. Blood turn gush, and dragon dust unexpectedly with nothing, a little hurt. Dragon blood cross-cutting. Just when the 9 elders were shocked to retreat, Guoran took his hand. His long sword crossed, and all the dragon blood soldiers behind summoned the dragon blood fighting body. Their scales glowed, and their whole body of qi and blood rushed to Guoran. When all the forces converge on Longchen, Guoran's armor is as bright as the sun, and all the runes on the 2 long knives are activated, which is like burning red in an instant. The strength of the dragon blood soldiers is constantly improving. During this period, they have made progress again. When all their strength is concentrated, they have almost reached the limit of Guoranjan armor and Changdao. I saw a 10-word shot out. The void was cut out a huge mark. The focus of the 10-word was aimed at the 9 elders. And 9 elder at this time, just by Longchen a shock to blood, old force is gone, new force is not born. 9 elder is surprised and angry. Suddenly a mouthful of blood spurts out. Under the blood burning, his breath suddenly soared a section. In this state, he had to burn blood essence in exchange for breathing, otherwise he had no strength to resist. Boom! The 9 elders cut the sword on the flame cross, which made him extremely frightened. His sword broke in an instant, and the huge force hit his chest, and the blood gushed out. It seemed that the whole person was hit by the stars, and almost directly smashed. "Brothers, awesome!" Guaran exclaimed in surprise. Last time, when they faced the Heavens Strong, the dragon blood cross cutting had no such great power. During this period of time, on the ghost ship, people kept honing their tacit understanding and reducing the power of counteracting each other. Now, with a high concentration of power, this blow is even more terrifying than that of Longchen. This makes Guaran surprised and happy, and suddenly has a feeling of elation. Guaran wants to strike while the iron is hot and take another move to kill the old guy directly. However, when he raised the sword, he found that the smoke on the sword was steaming, and the rune was still burning. Suddenly, his face changed slightly. No, the rune's endurance has reached the limit, so he must cool down before he can do another move. The dragon blood soldiers broke out with all their strength, which brought a huge load to Guaran's armor and long sword, especially the long sword. The rune reached the limit, and he could not make continuous moves. Some of the runes on Guaran's long sword are used to carry the strength of the dragon blood soldiers. Most of them are used for their own fighting, and the strength can be converted. After all, he can't rely on the dragon blood soldiers all the time. The dragon blood soldiers and he fight independently most of the time. Originally, when Guaran designed this set of runes, he had estimated the strength of the dragon blood soldiers as high as possible and promoted the bearing capacity of the runes to the extreme. Originally, they thought that there was no need to change the runes before they entered the divine realm, but they did not expect that these runes would reach the limit before they reached the realm of the king. You know, there are only more than 400 dragon blood soldiers now. When all the dragon blood soldiers get together, the power will directly burst his armor and long sword. Guaran looked at the long red knife, and was surprised and pleased. If his armor was strong enough, the brothers were awesome enough to fight for the moment. Die, just as Guaran was in a daze, the 9 elders roared and killed him. At this time, his clothes were in disorder, and his hair was as long as a beggar's. He was gnashing his teeth. His face was ferocious. He wanted to pick a soft persimmon for a bite, but he bit it on a stone and broke his teeth. He was shocked by Guaran's strike, and his 5 zong organs shifted, which attracted Uncle Huai's secret injury. The injury was more serious than the injury, which made his breath unstable. But he also saw that there was smoke on Guaran's sword and armor. He was in a weak state for a short time. This is the best time to kill him. Even if he was seriously injured, he didn't want to give up the good chance to kill Guaran. At this time, Long Chen was still far away, and there was no time to rescue. Die, 9 elders roar, the sword is broken, and he has a long gun in his hand, pointing at Guaran. But when the spear came out, the void collapsed, the colorful flames rose, and the huge flame whirlpool blocked in front of him. It's Yu Qingxian. Although Yu Qingxian is not good at fighting, he has a strong ability in defense. The strike of the 9 elders was impeccable. But when the spear pierces into the whirlpool of fire, its power is as solid as iron, just like the iron pierces into cold water, and the energy dissipates wildly and rapidly. Bitch! The 9 elder, who missed the opportunity, was both surprised and angry. After Yu Qingxian's blocking, he saw Guaran retreating rapidly, and he lost the chance to kill Guaran. When the 9 elders scolded, he suddenly found that Guaran, Xia Chen and all the dragon blood soldiers cast strange eyes on him, with schadenfreude, compassion and pity in their eyes. Then 9 elder feel behind him, as if a pair of devil's eyes stare at him. The temperature of the whole world suddenly fell down. At that moment, the world was quiet, he could not even hear other voices, he could only hear his own heartbeat. When he turned his head slowly, he found that Long Chen's sword had been put into the sheath, and his body was leaning forward slightly, just like a hunting leopard, which had locked the prey. The cold intention of killing made heaven and earth tremble. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4075. Looking at Long Chen's killing intention, Guaran and others have a helpless look on their face. Well, it's over before it starts. It's estimated that there's nothing wrong with us. Why are you so cheap? Let's miss out on a great opportunity. There are dragon blood soldiers cannot help muttering. The woman who dares to scold the boss. It's strange that the boss doesn't work hard with you. The dragon blood soldiers finally meet a powerful man who is equal to him. They all want to have a fierce fight with him. But when things get to this point, they can't fight with the boss. They can only scold the old guy for his bad mouth. Suddenly, a pair of golden wings appear behind Longchen, which are Kunpeng's wings. When Kunpeng's wings appear, Longchen's figure suddenly disappears. Nine Long Boss, surprised, he as heaven strong, has the ability to control heaven and earth. Where the spirit, heaven and earth are in control, no one can hide in front of him. But the dragon dust disappeared. What he thought of for the first time was not that the dragon dust was invisible, but that the speed of the dragon dust was too fast to catch up with his divine sense. Nine elders suddenly a roar, the long spear toward front fiercely stab. Boom! There was a loud explosion, and Ming Hong's sword was cut on the spear. At this time, the sound of the sword coming out of its sheath came. So fast, Guaran and others were shocked. The order of the voice was confused, the pictures in front of them were distorted, and time and space were disturbed. Poof! With many years of fighting experience, Elder Nine blocked the sword of dragon dust, but was shocked by the dragon dust and his blood gushed. Pa! Suddenly, the figure flashed, and the 9 elders turned around, with yellow teeth scattered in the void. I can't see the movement clearly, but listening to the familiar voice and looking at the familiar posture, Guaran and others all know that 9 elder got a big mouth. The speed of the boss is faster. Summer Morning Road. In the Rosefinch Empire, Longchen also used Kunpeng's wings, but the speed was not so fast. It turns out that there are countless runes on the wings of Kunpeng, which need to be integrated little by little. The wings grow up with the strength of the master. The Kunpeng clan, which is as famous as the Dragon clan, is not a mere name, but a real talent. This pair of wings from Kuntu is very powerful in itself. When Longchen got it, it had not fully grown up, and only a small part of rune was activated. So although Longchen got the wings of Kunpeng in Jiwanging and Shenzunjing, he still used the wings of the Fairy King. After he activated all the runes on the wings, he refined the other 2 pairs of wings. When he was alchemy on the ghost ship, I don't know if he was influenced by the heaven and earth tripod. Kunpeng's wings began to merge with him instead of refining passively. When they are approaching the shore, Kunpeng's wings have been fully integrated, and Longchen can control all the power of Kunpeng's wings. We should know that even the strong Kunpeng in the divine realm can only control part of the runes of the immortal king's wings, and cannot achieve complete integration. Kunpeng clan is a very special race. If they don't reach a certain level, they will have more Benming runes. However, most of these runes cannot be activated, which is related to one's talent and blood. Different from other races automatically derive Benming rune to a certain extent. As soon as Benming rune appears, it naturally controls this magic power. But the Kunpeng family is different. When the runes reach the fairyland, there will be more. When they reach the realm of the king, there will be more. It's just that runes come out. Whether they can be used or not depends on one's ability. In any case, in the Kunpeng clan, no one can fully activate all runes on his body. If he can activate half of them, he is already a peerless genius. Kuntu was valued by the Kunpeng family. The runes on his wings only activated 40%, the runes on his body only activated 30%, and the runes on his soul only activated 20%. Although the runes of the Kunpeng clan seem to be of little use, it is said that every once in a while, there will be a peerless genius who activates all the runes and sweeps through 9 days. Unfortunately, legend is legend. For countless years, the legend of the Kunpeng clan has not appeared. Longchen doesn't know these legends or the Kunpeng family. He only knows that the Kunpeng wings are very easy to use. Now the runes on the wings are all activated, and his speed is at an extreme. The 9 elders were slapped and whirled like a top. Suddenly there was another explosion. They turned from right to left instead of from left to right. However, due to the huge inertia, his lower body is still turning to the left, but his upper body is turning to the right, and his body turns into a twist in an instant. 9 elders were slapped 2 times in a row. They were directly stunned. Their heads were dizzy and they could not distinguish the southeast and northwest. Pa 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 pa. Long Chen waved his big hand, and there was a mirage all over the sky. His mouth was as if he didn't want money, and he also scolded him, "I make you cheap, arrogant, vengeful, and—" 9 elders were beaten like a top flying around, but they were always under the control of Long Chen. After a dozen slaps, 9 elders were silent. "It can't be dead." Xia Chen and others were stunned. "Should not die, is gas dizzy, the boss mouth son, never kill people," Guo Ran said. Sure enough, as soon as his voice fell, the 9 elder who was angry and dizzy was awakened again, but just woke up, he was stunned again. All of a sudden, Long Chen retreats and 9 elders are still spinning in the air. When he stops, Guo Ran and others scream. Is this still him? They can't recognize the old 9 elder. At this time, his face is as swollen as a pig's head, almost wider than his shoulder. His face has expanded and deformed, and his skin has expanded to the extreme. It seems that he will explode at any time. Thin shoulders, carrying a large head, that looks surprised, but also funny. Guo Ran and others are open-minded. This is probably the limit, right? Boss, you're so good at the heat and the strength. 1 point is less than the limit, and 1 point more is the best. Guo Ran carefully scrutinizes 9 elders' head, one face praises, flatters away repeatedly. You wait for me. At this time, the 9 elder just woke up from the coma and saw that he was beaten into a dormant appearance. He was so angry that he trembled all over, and his tears flowed out. It's an eye-opener for Guo Ran and others to look dull when they were beaten and cried. Run away, and at this moment, Uncle Huai heard a cry of terror. The 7 elders and 8 elders ran away. I don't know what measures Uncle Huai used to scare them. Puff, as a result, they had just escaped when a pagoda tree appeared to cover the sky. Endless branches, like sharp swords, pierced their bodies. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4076. All of a sudden, startled people, before Huaishu to 1 enemy 3 not to fall, has let people to Huaishu's strength shocked. But now, the 2 heavenly strong men just wanted to escape, but they were taken by Uncle Huai in an instant. That is to say, Uncle Huai's strength was far above them. Before it was just a trial attack. Let me go, otherwise, the Yi family will not let you go. 7 elders and 8 elders cried out in terror. No matter how they attack, they can't hurt the origin of Uncle Huai. In other words, their attack can't cause effective damage to Uncle Huai. The undead are famous for their long physical strength. They can't afford him, so they plan to leave. As a result, as soon as they fled, Uncle Huai broke out with all his strength. Before that, he was just warming up. After all, he had been locked up in the eyes of the devil for too long, and his body became slow and needed to adapt slowly. At this time, the pagoda tree opens the sky. The world is shrouded by the tree crown, and the branches and leaves block the universe, forming a prison. Here, no one can escape. This is the essence of Huaishu, which is countless times larger than what Longchen and others see in the eyes of the devil. Facing the threat of the 7 elders and 8 elders, Uncle Huai didn't pay attention, but looked at Longchen and said, Master, what do you say to deal with them? Kill. Longchen didn't even look at them and said faintly, How dare you? The 7 elders and 8 elders cried out in horror. Puff, the branches that pierced their bodies lit up rapidly, and they seemed to be filled with air, expanded rapidly, and finally burst to pieces. When the 2 heavenly strong men burst into pieces, you can see the flying runes all over the sky. These are the original runes of the heavenly strongmen. These runes are slowly absorbed by heaven and earth. The power of heaven comes from the way of heaven. After death, they will return to the way of heaven. What God has given them will be taken back. Watching the 2 Tianzuan strongmen being killed, The picture is very shocking. Guoran and others are crazy. It's Tianzuan. They are killed in this way and it's still a pair. Guoran and others can't help but look at the Nine Elder. At this time, the Nine Elder is shaking all over, and his face is full of fear. Coward, get out of here! All of a sudden, Guoran kicks the Nine Elders. The Nine Elders are scared out of their wits and seem to forget to escape. They are kicked away by Guoran. It turned out that Guoran saw that Elder Jio's crotch was wet, and a strange smell came. He almost vomited. In his anger, he kicked it away. The powerful men in heaven were scared out of their excrement and urine, which made the dragon blood soldiers full of contempt. They were usually arrogant and domineering, and regarded other people's lives like weeds. When it's their turn, they will change into councils. It's disgusting. The so-called God is just like that. My lord, don't kill me, don't kill me. I kowtow to you. As long as you don't kill me, I'm willing to be a slave and servant. What everyone didn't expect was that 9 elders fell on their knees, kowtowed and begged. At this time, they didn't want any dignity. Originally, Long Chen had already grasped Ming Hong's sword and was ready to cut off this guy's head. This man's mouth was very annoying. It was hard to get rid of his hatred if he didn't kill him. But this man is carrying excrement and urine. If you use Ming Hong's knife to cut him, it's a kind of blasphemy to Ming Hong's knife. Long Chen has the heart to let Huaishu kill him, but Huaishu comes from the undead family. He is arrogant and strong. If he is allowed to kill him, Long Chen will feel sorry. Long Chen can't help but look at Guoran. Guoran seems to be getting smarter today. He takes a piece of paper and cleans his long knife attentively. He pretends not to see Long Chen's eyes. Please, don't kill me. I'm old and I'm young. Elder 9 cried and kept kowtowing. Damn, I'm so unlucky. I've met everyone? Long Chen was angry. Boss, let me. At this time, a dragon blood soldier came out. He saw that everyone didn't want to kill a man who knelt down to beg for mercy. It was really embarrassing. However, this man is a villain. It's nothing to kill him. It's just disgusting. Forget it. Long Chen waved his hand, and the pride of the dragon blood soldiers was engraved in his bones. Long Chen could not move his hand, nor let his brothers do it. Long Chen looked at Jiu Chong and said, Go back and tell you the Yi family. Don't provoke me. I'm not very good-tempered. The so-called again and again, not again and again. If you provoke me again, then Third Master Long will have a good time with you. No, no, we absolutely don't. 9 Elder Big Joy picked up a life, immediately kept kowtowing. Go away. Long Chen Cold Tunnel. Elder Jiao continues to kowtow to Long Chen, and then kowtows to Yu Qingxian. This guy knows his face. At this time, he finally knows why he was beaten. 9 Elder from behind has been bowing to the public, body slowly back. Do not know is to show respect for the public, or afraid of the public behind him suddenly shot. Uncle Huai took back his body. Elder Jiao was relieved. When he retreated to a certain range, he suddenly crushed the seal character and his body disappeared. Boss, I'm afraid there will be future trouble if such a person keeps him. The dragon blood soldier who wanted to fight before couldn't help saying, What future trouble? If we work together now, we can beat him all over the place. Will we be afraid of him in the future? Long Chen said with a smile. When Long Chen said this, everyone immediately laughed. Yes, now they can beat him, and there is no need to be afraid in the future. This person's qi and blood have declined, and I'm afraid he won't make any improvement in his whole life. But they are not the same. They are still young and in the stage of rapid improvement. Their strength is increasing every day. One is stagnant and the other is moving forward rapidly. In the future, they really don't have to be afraid of him. This guy, he's really lucky. Guoran couldn't help exclaiming. When they heard the word, lucky dog, they all laughed. That's true. If he hadn't been so scared, he would have died today. I don't know. Will the Yi family be more honest? Summer Morning Road. It's impossible to be honest. The death of 2 Tianzuan strong men is equivalent to smoking the face of the Yi family, but also very hard. Although not necessarily to the point of endless death, but they will never give up. However, they should stop for a period of time. During this period, they will not rush to attack. They will first inquire about our origin, know our strength and background, and then make a decision. So, recently, we should be able to relax a little. By the way, Xiachen you just. Longshan turns to Xiachen. Don't worry, boss. The pictures just now are all recorded with Photo Jade. Summer Morning Road. Okay, that's good. I'll look back and find out. If the Yi family of Fairyland and the Yi family of Fanjia are the same family, I'll announce the Photo Jade directly. Longshan Road. Let's go, with the words of Longshan falling, the group left by flying boat. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4077 Long Chen and others left. Half a day later, strong people arrived. These people were wearing all kinds of clothes, obviously not from the same force. A few of them were the most powerful in heaven. After they checked the battlefield, they could not help but take a breath of air. As two peas, the two strong men were killed at the same time, and the time of their integration into heaven was exactly the same. The strong ones who had the strong spirit of the undead were definitely the strong ones of the undead. An old man, touching the earth with his hand, has a dignified face. The key is that there is no unyielding will left. That is to say, when two people are killed, they don't even have the ability to resist. Fear is greater than anger. Another old man said, "It said that the Yi family sent the three great gods to pursue and kill the mysterious people. It seems that two of them have been killed, and the other one may have escaped. However, from the traces of the battlefield, there are two battlefields, one of which is very chaotic, with strong blood in the breath. It seems that it is not a human race. It's really weird, but it's a pity that the heaven and earth rules are in chaos, so we can't trace the origin of time and space, and we can't see the scene of the original battle. Countless strong men are surveying the battlefield, trying to deduce the scene of the battle from the clues on the battlefield. Unfortunately, the battlefield is extremely chaotic, and they can't achieve their wishes at all. The story that Yes disciples resisted the tide of sea demons and were killed by outsiders has long been spread. After all, there are countless strong men in the fortifications who are not members of the Yi family. Naturally, they will not keep secrets for the Yi family. So the news spread rapidly, and countless people were watching the dynamics of the Yi family secretly. They all knew that the Yi family's arrogance was bound to pursue and kill these people. It's a pity that they are slow to come and see the end. But from the battlefield, they know that this time the domineering Yi family kicked the iron plate, and two of the three gods died, which made a lot of trouble. The murderer is a strong one of the undead. The undead have endless longevity and are also the god. The gap is too big. After a long investigation, someone came to a conclusion. There's no way. When the Terran arrived at Tianzuan realm, their qi and blood were exhausted. In order to maintain the realm, they had to burn Shoyun. The undead people live a long life, and the spirit of immortality goes back and forth. When we get to heaven we are old, but they are still in their prime. Another one exclaimed. Unless the Terran can break through the heaven before the centenary, it can only rely on Shoyuan to maintain its realm in the future. There is only one choice between realm and lifespan. Compared with other races, we are really at a loss in this respect. The breakthrough of Tianzuan before the age of 100 has rarely happened since the archaic times. It's rare for us to make breakthroughs before the age of 1,000. At that time, those of us who made breakthroughs after the age of 1,000 were also called geniuses. Unfortunately, compared with other races, the human race is much weaker. For a moment, countless people felt that in Tianzunjing, the human race is weaker than most races, which is an indisputable fact. The road of practice is like sailing against the current. If you don't advance, you will retreat. Many people rush into the realm of heaven. They have already touched the ceiling of practice and can't make further progress in their life. The most important thing is that it is very difficult to maintain this realm. Only by burning Shoyuan can we ensure that the realm does not fall. To put it bluntly, it is to exchange life for the realm. In contrast, the demons, the underworld, the spirit, the blood and so on have a unique advantage in Shoyuan. They have more Shoyuan to maintain the stability of the realm. The Terran, burning Shoyuan, can only keep the realm at the spiritual point. This realm is unstable. If you want to be stable, you need to burn more Shoyuan. The life of the Terran is not long. If it burns like other races, it won't be long before it runs out of Shoyuan and dies. Therefore, in the same realm, compared with the undead, the hope of victory is extremely slim in the case of one-on-one. The strong of the Yi family are also unlucky. They think that they can frighten everyone with this signboard of the Yi family, and even they are not afraid that the other party is undead. They still want to compete. As a result, it's tragic. Maybe the tree of the Yi family is too big, which makes the monkeys think that they are the gods who look down on all living beings and can be invincible. But I know that the Yi family is an immortal family, and I dare to kill the Yi family's god. I'm afraid these people have a lot of origins. Some people said with admiration. Boom! At this time, the void roared, a fierce breath hit, the original sunny sky, a moment full of haze, saw a fierce beast roaring. It is a deer with a dragon's head and antlers. Its body is like a donkey, but it has black scales. Its eyes are like bronze bells. There are butterfly-like stripes on the scales. Its whole body is dark, like a fierce beast from hell. It's Shadow Kirin. It's from the Yi family. Some people exclaim that Shadow Kirin is a fierce animal in ancient times. It's famous for killing and devouring flesh and blood. It's a rare fierce race in the Kirin family. Kirin is also a very large race, most of which are auspicious animals and spirit animals, which are the symbol of good luck and kindness. However, there are also evil races in the Kirin family. Shadow Kirin is the best among them. They carry archaic runes and have great fighting power. As soon as the Shadow Unicorn appeared, the dark atmosphere covered the sky, and its prestige was breathless. Even the heaven's strong people were shocked. This is a terrifying Shadow Unicorn of heaven class. It's also a symbol of the Yi family. It's said that the Yi family and the Shadow Unicorn family have made a contract, and the strong of the Yi family have the strength to control the Shadow Unicorn. The appearance of Shadow Kirin means that this person has a noble identity. He should be a strong member of the Yi family, not a branch elder. Someone whispered. The Yi family is powerful with many branches and many experts. However, the Shadow Kirin is not only powerful, but also a symbol of identity. It is said that the heaven superior of the branches is not qualified to own them. Shoo, everyone's gone. That one doesn't look very good. Don't get moldy. One of the most powerful in heaven retreated immediately when he saw the situation. When others saw the Shadow Unicorn, they left one after another. Roar! The Shadow Unicorn falls on the earth, suddenly looks up to the sky and roars. It sounds like a declaration of war. But for a long time, there was no voice response. Finally, a young man jumped from Shadow Kirin. The man looked only 20 years old, but his cultivation had reached the peak of the immortal king. His breath was as vast as the sea, not even weaker than the Shadow Kirin he was riding. 3 flowers gather, he is the supreme of the 3. When I saw the man, the powerful man exclaimed. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4078. It was a handsome young man in a white robe with 2 swords on his back. The man's face is cold, and his eyebrows are full of pride. In the face of the strong whispering around him, he doesn't even look at it. He seems to despise everything between heaven and earth. After he came down, the huge Shadow Kirin followed him. 1 man and 1 beast, even the strong one in heaven, felt frightened and did not dare to get close to him. There are 3 flowers in Fairyland, which I'm afraid it's a super genius who can win the title of Tianzuan in 100 years. Someone couldn't help exclaiming. 99% of the heaven's powerful people awaken to the 3rd energy only after they enter the divine realm. After entering the divine realm, the bipolar heaven's powerful people perceive the heaven and the earth, reflect the Tao with their bodies, and search for their own power between the heaven and the earth. On the basis of bipolarity, it is very difficult to attract the third power to reach the realm of three living things, and it is very difficult for bipolarity to enter the realm of God. After entering the realm of divine respect, a third kind of power is gathered, and there is no one in 10,000. Not to mention the difficulty, the time needed for enlightenment alone has consumed the longevity of countless people. Even if the third kind of energy is condensed, it will consume a lot of energy to open up the three-flower vision, to achieve the unity of the three flowers and to integrate heaven and earth. Therefore, when they were promoted to heaven, their whole body energy had already consumed 7788, and this kind of consumption was basically irreversible, and it was difficult to make up for it. It's like a person trying his best to climb to the top of the cliff. When he reaches the top of the cliff, he finds that he has no place to stand. He can only cling to the point of strength and not let himself fall. After entering the realm of heaven, they have the ability to be condescending, but they also work very hard. In order to maintain this realm, they can only burn Shoyuan, waiting for the arrival of death. But when they come here, even if they know that death will accelerate, they will not give up everything they have now. They are not afraid of death, but they are afraid of losing the aura of heaven. The three flowers formed by bipolar supremacy are called the acquired three flowers. Some geniuses are born with three kinds of energy. When they arrive at the fairyland, they will all wake up. The three flowers formed in this way are called the congenital three flowers. There is a big difference between the congenital three flowers and the acquired three flowers. If it is the congenital three flowers, they will be protected by heaven and earth when they come to the heaven within 100 years. The heaven realm is not his peak, but his step to a higher level. They don't need to burn longevity to maintain their state. Moreover, under the protection of the way of heaven, they will get 10 times or more of the power of the way of heaven. If you can advance to heaven before you are 100 years old, you will be able to ascend the immortal realm and live with heaven and earth. That's the existence of legend. Therefore, the appearance of the young man in white caused a great sensation, and countless people cast astonished eyes on him. As soon as the man in white arrived, several old men in yes clothes appeared. One of them, with a big head, was 9 elder who had not been puffed up by Longchen. The rest of them were also the elders of the Yi family. They came to the man in white. They were silent and did not dare to speak. The man in white inspected the battlefield and said coldly, "A group of idiots, you have lost all the faces of the Yi family." The man in white pointed to the 9 elders and said coldly, "If you are beaten like this by others, you still have the face to live. How can the Yi family have such a fool who is greedy for life and afraid of death?" The 9 elders dare not speak with swollen face. He is so scared that he shivers all over. If he knows that his life is begging for mercy, the man in white will kill him. However, for the white man's greed for life and fear of death, all the heavens strong feel a burst of discomfort. In order to maintain the realm, they burn Shoyu. Time is running out, and of course they cherish it. With such words, a man in white is just like a young man who scolds a dying man. He means that he doesn't hurt his back when he stands up. "My lord, there is a terrible undead among them. We 3 can't fight with all our strength." 9 elder wrong tunnel. It turns out that after the 9 elders returned, the man in white had already come to Yes house before he could explain the situation in detail. When he understood the situation, he killed him the first time, but it was still too late. 9 elders and others catch up with each other and come running to report the situation. "But won't you show Yes' name?" The man in white said angrily. "It's bright, but they're so overbearing that they don't pay any attention to it, and the boy in black seems to have a big background. The strong man of the undead clan in heaven has always been respectful to him and called him the master. Jiuchang is in a hurry. Now he has to describe Longchen and Huaishu as strong, so that he won't be too shameful. Well, so what? No matter how strong the undead are, our Yi family is not afraid of them." The man in white hummed coldly. They said. 9 elders stammered. "What else?" The man in white is cold. He said, "Let me go back to tell you the Yi family," or that sentence, "Don't provoke him, he is not very good-tempered." The so-called again and again, not again and again. If you provoke him again, then he will have a good time with us. Nine elder almost will Long Chen's words, intact ground said. Looking for death, the man in white yells, and 3 colors of divine radiance appear behind him. The void is pierced by divine radiance, extending endless cracks, and heaven and earth almost collapse because of his anger. It was as if the man in white could destroy the heaven and the earth in a moment. Even the heaven and the strong were frightened by the terrible power. In order to activate the power of heaven and earth, the powerful one needs to open up the vision and make full use of it. This man in white can control the power of heaven and earth as he likes. What thing, dare to be arrogant in front of my Yi family? Yi Wuchen will meet you. Yi Wuchen's eyebrows are full of killing intention. He turned his head and said to Jiu Chang, give your blood mark and I'll hunt them down. The so-called blood mark is the mark he left on Longchen and others. With this mark, the 3 of them came here. But now when it comes to the blood mark, the 9 elders' face suddenly changed. He said in a hurry, my blood mark has been forcibly erased by them. Nonsense, no one can erase the blood mark of the god unless he is immortal and strong. The man in white was surprised and angry. But it's really erased, cried the 9 elder in horror. In fact, he lied. When Long Chen let him go, he took the initiative to take back his blood mark. On the one hand, he wanted to show his sincerity. On the other hand, he didn't take back his blood mark. He was afraid that Long Chen would kill him. Now asked about the blood mark, of course, he did not dare to say that it was collected by himself. He could only push it to Long Chen and others. In this way, the white man's face also changed. 9 elders lie, scared him. A group of fools, give you a month, you must find out their identity for me. With a cold snort, the man in white rides on the shadow unicorn. With a roar, the shadow unicorn rushes up to the sky and disappears. P.S. There's another chapter. Continue to code. It'll be delivered by 10 o'clock. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.